How did you launch him 80 feet in the air?
You told me to boat flip him!
I didn't tell you to launch him 78 feet in the air.
I flipped him in the boat, didn't I?
Send it to the moon.
I sent it! You said boat flip him!
Oh, yeah.
Do you fish? No. You know, people who don't fish think that fishing is lazy or boring, but it is the complete opposite. There are 100 little decisions to be made, variables to be considered, and you're never quite sure what made the difference. Did I cast too high, too far to the left? Did I reel it in too slow or too fast? Is the lure too shiny or too dull? Do I stay here or should I go over there? And you know it's not luck, but you do not know by how much. Because I am never disappointed out here because I don't expect anything, because anything is possible. I can be hopeful out here, even in failure. Because I know if I just go out there around that tree, it might be different. Something might be different. Something I do might make a difference.
On my property, you didn't win in my yard.
Wait.
All of you.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Add me, because that would help a lot, wouldn't it? All right, we are live from Jake's Bait and Tackle for our monthly What's New at Jake's and what's happening for the month that's coming up. And for this month, we have November, and we have a star-studded guest list here. We have so many guests that we don't even have enough microphones to get it all done. So we're going to do a little housewarming stuff, and then I'm going to shut up and let these guys start talking about what's been going on with their lives on the water. One housewarming thing, Mike Ortega of NVKBA, there's a benefit tournament coming up. I'm going to kind of share my screen real quick, get this. Here we go. So NVKBA has a tournament coming up. It's Heroes on the Water benefit tournament. It is a VA statewide team event from November 3rd to 19th. You do not need a membership for NVKBA to be a part of this. I'm going to drop a link in the episode description, and I'm also going to have Mike Ortega on a little bit later on this week to not only talk about the tournament, but how his club's doing and just kind of a year look back. There's another tournament that I keep forgetting is coming up that we're supposed to promote. Is it Martin something? Gary Martin? Larry Martin? You know
Veterans
him?
tournament.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it Larry Martin?
Yeah, he puts on the Veterans tournament, Veterans Day tournament.
November 11th.
November 11th. Larry Martin, November 11th tournament. That's coming up. I'm going to put a link for that as well if you want to do that. That's at Lake Anna. Link in the episode description for that. And then also the NVKBA benefit tournament on the water. You do not have to be a member of the NVKBA to join this month-long team tournament. Go check that out as well. Please let us know down below if you can hear me okay. Everything's going good. Now, as always, we are going to have prize giveaways. The best questions of the night are going to win some prizes to Jake's Bait and Tackle and Chick-fil-A. Then we also have we are going to put up at the end of this live stream. I know I'm a little behind on this, but I'm only one man. We're going to take the 5 best photos from our Patreon members, and we're going to have them voted on, and we're going to see who's going to win a gift card for that as well. So without a moment ado, I'm going to get rid of my mic, and we're going to have all the guests lined up. So, Carly, you want to pan out here? Look at this. I'm not even a cameraman now. So we have Jared Mounts right here. You know him. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'm Uncle Jed tonight for the hospital. We're at Beverly Hillbillies, guys. All right, this is your mic. Go for it. Introduce everybody. Scoot out here and just hold on to the comment section.
Got Lonnie Connor here
How's everybody doing?
and Jason Ford,
Good evening.
And these
I come as,
guys-
West Virginia coach today.
West Virginia.
Yeah, Mountaineers.
There you go. Go Mountaineers.
Get a little
Before we
more
get to
intimate
Doc.
with the mic. There we go. You can close to your mic. There we go.
Tell us real quick about your all's guide service.
We started it last year, and we've actually had several trips the past couple months. We're looking for those people that want to make memories on the water. That's important to us, to teach somebody something. You may or may not know anything about bass fishing or anything, but we're going to teach you something. You're going to make those memories. So that's going well, and we're happy where we're at right now.
That's awesome. And Lonnie, what waters are you fishing?
Mostly we'll fish. We can fish the North Fork, well, not North Fork, but South Fork. We do trips on the South Fork, like Shenandoah, Riverton, Egypt Bend, Luray. We could do Lake Anna. We could do the Potomac. Again, it's about, like Jason said, people that want to have an experience, and it doesn't have to be bass. It can be perch. It could be crappie. We can do mixed species. Just a day, getting out in the outdoors and enjoying the outdoors and all the scenery. Great.
There's something really great about, and that's one thing I've liked about this too, is just the camaraderie of fishing together too. And the friends you meet, the people you go with, and another guest here, Doc Heathcote, and I'll never forget Doc, being able to go fishing with Doc on the New River and the Susquehanna, but I know we did a New River trip as well, and they do a lot of traveling, so be able to jump on somebody else's boat and fish with them and learn from them, that's really strong. And I know we've had a lot of that here at Jake's. Just different guys that maybe didn't even know each other before this, and then but have like interest to fish, and hey, you want to go, and they meet, and next you end up on the water and making memories. So, and Doc Heathcote.
Yeah, that's truly how I really got into smallmouth fishing. Was just people locally here letting me go with them and learn and being taught the tricks of the trade that just picking up from our community. People fish with.
Roger Fuller told me just today, he talked about that. The first time he took you up to up on the Potomac, I believe, a trip up there, and how many fish you guys caught. Like it was over 100, I think.
I've been really blessed to have great folks around here that's willing to offer their time to teach folks about the area and the different fisheries we have here. We're really blessed to be able to have that in our community.
Doc's catching them too. They showed me pictures before we started. He's catched some rather smallmouth.
Where'd you go, Doc, here recently?
Well, recently, Kenny Gano and I we was up at Lake Ontario fishing west side of Lake Ontario and Niagara River. We fished buffalo just around the Buffalo Wall. Spent a few days up there. It's great. It's great. It's just a great place to go fish. We had a great time. We didn't catch the numbers that we sometimes have caught, but we caught really nice quality fish. Was real pleased with the outcome. Water was low, water was clear. The water temperature was not really down as cool as we thought it may be, but sometimes you have to when you take the time off, you deal with whatever
whatever throws at you.
Whatever cards you're dealt with is what you play. So anyway, had a great trip. The
nice thing about all these guys too, you guys are always, and we were talking about before we started, just being able to share information. You're not afraid to, share what you caught fish on and what's worked for you, and just, really just pass on that knowledge that was probably given. You get it a lot of times by going out on your own and figuring it out, but sometimes, there's somebody that's told you something that helped you, and, to pass that on to other people. Because the bottom line, we're here all about and just really glad that Thomas started this Fishing the DMV podcast, and it's a platform to be able to share information and knowledge to ultimately help people have success on the water, because that's what it's all about. And that's what Jason was saying earlier, to make memories. And it still gets, I know Doc, I've said before, he's like, a kid at Christmas when I took Ray and I went to Susquehanna yesterday, and he's 71 years old, but you'd have thought he was a 12-year-old getting a new bicycle at Christmas. I mean, he was so excited about it, as was I, but that's what it's all about. So what we want to do now is kind of just show going into the month of November, what would you recommend to the viewers to, what are some of your favorite boats for November?
And then to make sure I always do the plugs, and then make sure you guys hit that like button. And also, again, best questions. We're going to answer everyone's questions. If you have a question for any of the people that are on the board today, best questions are going to win a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle and Chick-fil-A. Before we get started, here we go.
Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Jason.
This time of year, going into November, I would definitely look to throw a small Nico type bait. I don't know if the camera could see that, but it's just a little 3-inch super Ned. Something if the fish are a little finicky. And that would work in basically any body of water. It would work in the South Fork, Lake Frederick, Lake Anna. Something just to slow down, a smaller presentation, something slow. It's definitely gonna get you some bites. You can't forget about the jerk bait. The jerk bait. These fish are in different water columns right now, and this jerk bait by Megabass has been a really good jerk bait for me, catching quality fish and small fish, panfish, you name it. It's going to work. A lot of people don't throw a crankbait when we get in November, or it may not be in our top 5, but it's definitely my top 5. That crawl color, that fall-looking color, kind of resembles a crayfish, in a body of water, whether it be the South Fork or wherever it may be. But definitely that fall crankbait. Spinnerbait. If you can find bait fish, if fish are on structure, rocks, wood, I'm definitely gonna have a spinnerbait available going out fishing. A small little.
Real quick question on that before
Okay.
you put a trailer on that usually typically a spinner bait?
Absolutely, all the time. I probably wouldn't even throw a spinnerbait
Without a trailer?
I mean, sometimes you can go 2 to 3 inches past that hook.
Mhm.
Some people throw cheater hooks on the back of their
Mhm.
spinnerbaits. I typically don't, but I always throw a trailer. There's always some type of trailer on there
Mhm.
just to give it that more action.
Mhm.
You can trim it closer to the skirt. You can leave it hanging over the skirt. Just that vibration, you know. So that's what I do.
Do you trim your skirts, Jason? Like this time of year, cut them a little shorter.
This time of year, probably about a half inch shorter than what they typically are.
Typically, yeah.
I think what you need to key in on, like the size of the bait fish. When you start throwing a spinnerbait, blade size, everything. You
Mm.
got if you're fishing clear water, you want to use like a silver. But look at your bait fish and try to select the spinnerbait according to the size.
The size.
The
Yeah.
blade
That's a good
size.
point.
And what else? And that's I like the round table too. What else? What the different styles of blades as well?
Yes.
What's because I'm experiencing with different. I love a spinner bait, but what do you think on Colorado versus Willow versus I know there's like two other.
The Colorado gives you a lot of thump, and what happens with your willow blades, your spinnerbait will rise higher in the water.
As
So
you're reeling.
you can wake it. But when you start throwing like Colorado or turtleback,
Turtleback.
I like the turtleback.
turtleback I
Mhm.
like better than Colorado.
Why?
Because it gives you the best of both worlds. You get
Okay.
the willow leaf. It's kind of a cross between a willow leaf and a Colorado. So you get the best of both worlds. You get the thump and the flash, and it spins faster, and it won't lift as much, but it'll stay more in the middle of the water column. Turtleback.
And on that spinnerbait bite, we're talking about blade stuff, but a lot of times when you get that bite, it's on the fall. It's
Mm,
when you make that long cast and it's fluttering down in 5-6 foot, and bam, that's when they hit.
interesting.
That's when I get
We
my
talked about that.
Yeah.
Remember the big
Yep.
fish, man. When it hits first time, they're on it right now.
Yeah.
Now, is that turtleback? Is that the Indiana blade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see, it looks like a turtle
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's-
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are the best blades. I like them.
And then does it matter color? Like I know sometimes they'll do two different colors. I mean, I guess it.
Yeah, gold and silver
Yeah.
or color blue. Yeah.
And for smallmouth on that blade, speaking of that, that red, having a little red
Yep.
Mhm.
spinner up front is sometimes
Mhm.
golden.
That
to get in
fall
the right,
pattern.
yeah,
Yep.
and get in the right condition.
It's hard to beat a good spinnerbait bite,
Yes,
Jason.
it is.
I love
It's-
spinnerbait
it's
bites.
You
hard.
hit that thing.
The small 1/4 ounce contact jig is a good finesse bait if the fish are being finicky and they're not reacting. I didn't pick 5.
And then we
Sorry.
do, and before we go to the next page, we do have a good question from Philip Liggins. From smaller profile baits, how important is the width?
The width of a bait.
How important is the width, do you guys think?
It's all about silhouette for the most part. So when you look, obviously if you're fishing a spinnerbait to match bait fish, you want to be as narrow as possible. But again, if the water's muddy, you want a bigger profile, so you'll get something. You put a bigger trailer on it.
Mhm.
You want more thump, more
Yes.
vibration.
Mhm.
Obviously, clear water they can see really, really good.
Mhm.
So you want to be as close to try to match the hatch as possible.
Mhm. You were talking about that jig too, though. I like that. I use that same jig. And that weight, you can feel it.
Right.
That tungsten, right? That's a
Yes,
tungsten weight,
tungsten weight.
and you can feel everything with
Oh,
that.
yeah.
If you've never thrown tungsten before, you need to do yourself a favor. I know it's more expensive,
Yeah.
but you can feel everything on the bottom.
Yes. And moving like in December, a jig like
Yes.
that type of 1/4 ounce with a hair jig, maybe a
Mhm.
Panther, that would be
Mhm.
money too.
Mhm.
And I didn't pick 5, I picked 6. If there's some bait fish around and you see some activity on top and fish are feeding on them, I'm definitely gonna have a walking tight bait available to throw
Mhm.
to maybe catch some of those fish.
I'm surprised you didn't go get a Usuri.
Well, I looked for it, I couldn't find
It's a
it.
Usuri, man.
It's got
Right
there's a
there.
Usuri pencil pop.
Okay.
I fished with him. That's first thing coming out. It could be ice on the water, and he's
Not
full.
quite. But I tell you, it's a little heavy, and I've used it a lot the last couple weeks in my shoulders.
So you need to get that
Today.
workout in.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a type of welcome type bait. Would be good.
And then we have another question here for our fantastic panel from Beaver Hall. Also, huge shout out, boss, for finishing second place yesterday at the Butch Ward tournament. You think this is a weird ass angle to read that at? Hold on. You think I might be crazy, but I've won tournaments in 40 degree. That's why he's here. 40-degree water temps on a nail-weighted fluke.
Right there,
Let
yeah.
it die to the bottom. Is that that's the hover stride, the whatever? Is that the same thing?
No, it's like this, and then you put a nail on the head of it, and that thing it'll when you do it in the river, because when the water starts getting really cold, that a lot of bait fish die, and they'll they do like that, and they'll just when you put a nail in it, it just speeds it up, and it gets and you can fish deeper water with a nail in it. Yeah.
The other thing about the fluke too, like you can fish it in all levels of the water column. You can even bring, like you were saying earlier, bring that thing to the top, let it twitch on the top,
absolutely.
and or let it get down deep or do nothing, and it still works.
Maybe spruce up the tail a little bit with little chartreuse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your money.
Yeah.
Your money.
Absolutely.
Who wants to go next?
Go ahead, Doc.
Well, all right. I'll just kind of get to speaking of the spinnerbait. If we could get some rain and some water in the rivers, especially if we get some good color to the river, and even muddy, don't forget your spinnerbait. Chartreuse for smallmouth is awesome, and the bigger profile spinnerbait like that, I think tends to work better if you're in muddy or real dirty water. I've had
dynamite color.
That's a
for
good.
That's a great color.
That's a
if you get some stains or some muddy water, that's definitely got plenty of flash.
Yeah, that'll get you. And then thinking about this time of year, you got thinking your bait fishers. Basically, you're gonna have two schools of thought there. You're gonna have your small bait fish, and then you're gonna have your large bait fish. So you either go small or go large. And of course, the mega bass here, they got the 4.2, and you can actually even use something larger, the 5.5 inch, if you're on the right water, or you can use the little 3-inch like Hasdong shad. This is 4.2 Hasdong shad, and you can use those single basically either on a small jig head, depending on water, the depth you're fishing, and of course the bait fish you're fishing around. But don't forget umbrella rig. It's you got your basically, this is going to be the time when the water temperatures between 55 and 60 degrees, right in there. You're going to be the umbrella rig.
So Brian Brown just sent me a picture. He was out Sunday up at Lake Holiday, and he's only thrown the Mob Junior. It's the first time he's ever thrown it. Third cast, he thought he had a monster on. He had a 2-pound smallmouth and another 2-pound largemouth on the same cast. One cast, two different, took
And
same time fighting over it.
This is going to be the time of year, that this is going to come into play, because you're going to have, your bait balls and fish will be that can do the trick. And then as it obviously gets colder, your water gets down closer to 50, and in the 40s, you come off the umbrella rig and go to more of a jig head single minnow. But and then of course the gulp here is just the finesse. It's hard to beat something like a gulp, and especially in the finesse when you're finessing. Rogers jigs. This is really finesse. It's a small jig at Rogers. It's got this is one that's got this kind of blue tint to it. And as Jared was showing me a little earlier, a fish he caught or a crawdad he caught at Susquehanna, it actually had that blue tint. There's actually a tube called North Branch tube.
Yeah,
it's got that very, very blue. That's
a blue-green hue.
like that crawfish that you had. And so that's Roger's got some good jigs. And of course, I'm still using the old scrounger head. That's just to me just a go-to bait because of the action. And it's especially this time of year with the bait fish moving like they are. That's
a money bait.
Yeah, I tell you.
Wasn't it Aaron Martin's one that brought
Yes,
that out?
yes, he's
Yeah,
one
that
kinda-
thing, that bait. If you got to have one bait, that right there,
That does
because
the
you can
trick.
put a lot of different things on.
On
it.
it.
Exactly
You can
right.
fish it so many different
Yes,
ways.
you can. Yes, you
I mean,
can.
you can jig it, you can swim it.
Right.
I mean, you can let it fall to the bottom. You can
Mhm.
keep it on top. I mean, the vibration's really tight too.
That's a good question. This question's going to win something for me because I was on Big Slack yesterday fishing the Butch Ward tournament. And this is a great question because this was an issue. Big Mite Fishing Chronicles have a question. What do you guys throw when you have all the leaves on the water? That was a huge problem
Okay.
for a huge section of my river.
I can answer that if you want. So when it gets to that point, if you take like when it's a bluebird skies, if you get like where the leaves are piled up like that, those fish they get under for shade, you know, to keep because the eyelets, bass don't have eyelets. So when you're fishing something like that, obviously anything with trebles is gonna.
Mhm.
But like that scrounger head he just showed, you can actually fish that. Of course, the leaves are going to be through the whole water system, top, middle, and bottom, But when it gets like that, I usually try to focus on bottom baits like nets,
Mhm.
jigs,
Mhm.
something heavy that'll push through the leaves and get to the
To the
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're fishing heavy leaf like that, don't worry about so much where your line's going into the water. As long as your bait's below the leaves, you're
Mhm.
fine. Don't worry about what's going on top, right? Just that
Mhm.
feel of your bait.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is a time of year too where like even that I don't know how many hook sets I've set on a leaf because it does you can feel that
Oh,
too
yeah.
and you think it's
You actually watch the leaf.
yeah
If you get a bite or a hit or whatever, that leaf will move. So
Mhm.
the biggest thing is you just have to focus on using baits for the bottom.
Mhm.
Single hook.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Another question or two. Justin Rush says, "Where's Jason Ford's costume?" But you said earlier you're
I'm a West Virginia coach, so
coach.
got my apparel on.
I mean, wrestling coach,
yeah.
basketball coach, he's football coach. I mean,
I'm dressing up for Prior Santa Claus. Just call me Chris Kringle.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
And we got I'm gonna just start. All right, so I'm gonna start giving away some gift cards here. We're gonna go David Williams. You just won a $5 gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle for the 2-parter. I think this is a good one. So we're gonna do both questions first, and then we can get the answers from our panel. Part one is there a certain condition, whether it be watercolor or sky, when the painted blades work best? And then the follow-up is also when do blade baits come into play?
Blade baits usually come into play when the water temperature gets below 50, 50 and down, all the way down to freeze out.
Those blade baits work. Excuse me.
What
All
was
the way
the-
through
what was the
winter.
first question? What?
Oh, the first question was when do painted blades on a spinnerbait play, and then blade baits? Do you throw them, and when do you like to throw them?
Spinner baits, painted blades. I rarely will throw them unless I got a good heavy stain on the water. Now these guys might be different. If that water's fairly clear, I'll stick to the silver blades, maybe silver with a gold. A lot of people, what's coming now is the copper blade.
I've been throwing more
Mhm.
copper.
Copper.
Yeah.
The fish don't see a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the copper's really starting to turn on pretty good. But for painted blades, usually I'll fish. It's got to be pretty heavy stain.
A nice little plug for Chris Kendrick. When I did the Smalley video, Hidden Gems with Travis Eden, I got copper spin tail blades from him, so I could actually put that into my Ned rig every now and then to get a little flash. But you can still get copper if you get custom.
Sometimes on the painted blades, of course, you have the colors just like we showed a minute ago, like chartreuse or whatever. But y'all have seen the blades where it actually looks like a painted up like a
Yeah.
minnow.
Yeah.
You know what
Yes.
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now that, of course, when fish are, when the minnows are, schooled up and this and that kind of blade would work.
Yeah, you can
work-
use them right
work.
along with the silver.
Yeah,
and the gold,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Then
gonna
you
be
have
the same.
hammer too. You have the hammered
Yes.
texture
Mhm.
too. That's been common. The spoon.
Right.
Had a guy looking for one of those today with a spoon too. But
Yes.
that's also another. There's so much out there.
I bought a couple of those textured
Mhm.
spinner baits, and I've been using one K9.
You know, one thing about spinnerbait, you know, you try the gold or the silver or the, you know, the copper. If it's not working, you know, never hurts to try one with the painted blade.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
if you're not,
Yeah.
you know, if you know you're fishing in grass or the edge of grass where there should be fish, something ain't working, go to one off the, you know, something different. Just try it.
And another thing too, I was thinking earlier when you're talking about spinnerbait, that is another one where if you let it get down in the water column, let that thing don't always start it right away. Let that
Yeah,
almost let
let it go
it
to
sink
the
to the bottom and then slow roll.
Yep.
Just keep the blades turning. Don't I mean you again different times of year, try different speeds. You talk about water column. I always talk about working all three levels of water
Yes.
column with different speeds too, maybe before you change out because a slow roll, especially the Colorado blade, down deep sometimes,
Right.
especially in the summertime. Maybe not so much now, but
You're going to think this is crazy, but about 20 couple years ago, I was throwing spinnerbaits on Anna that were an ounce. And the blades were like that. And I was throwing them in 20 to 25 feet of water,
Mhm.
catching bass.
Yep.
Yep.
They were huge. I still got them, actually.
So let it sing. I mean, a lot of times too, we get out there and we want to automatically get on it. Sometimes being patient and just letting, like you said, fluttering down too. And I love the story of the guy, 2 4-pounders in a tournament on the Susky. He's watching and those bass is trailing back. He didn't know what to do. He was getting close to the boat and he just killed it. The thing fluttered down and they went down and looked at it.
They'll
and
pick
when
it off
picked
the
it off the
bottom.
bottom.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So change it up a little bit.
Let's see what we got there. Do we ever go through all the baits?
We got 2 more.
We got 2 more.
Go ahead.
That's fine. I'll just label these questions so much you
All right. So the baits that I picked, basically, you know, there's a lot of guys around here that fish the North Fork. Well, probably way to North Fork now, but and the South Fork. So my bait selection is based around November on the South and North Fork. These baits are going to catch them. This, you know, Roger's jigs. I've been using his jigs for years. He makes a hair jig, and when you start getting in November when the water temperature gets 50 and below, the hair jigs are by far the best bait that you could use. And it'll work all the way through the spring. You just put like like a Berkeley, like real tiny Berkeley power bait, small trailer on there. And they will absolutely, I don't know whether it's just because the hair undulates or kind of just like moves with the water better than silicone skirts, but the hair jigs are phenomenal bass catchers. Another one I like to is the Ned. Everybody uses Ned heads, but this Z-Man TRD tubes, you can put them on a Ned head, and this Canada crawl collar, phenomenal. This is probably one of the best baits I've used, even on the Susquehanna.
Wow.
Yeah. That works really, really well. And then, you know, like when I fish it, I'm usually try to determine if they're eating small baits, you know, like small crawls. And I've noticed over the years, you know, in the wintertime, they take really, really small. And I think a lot of it's because of the bugs, because underwater, you know, you got your larvae and stuff that are pretty small. So they're taking stuff like that. And then, of course, you never want to go on the North-South Fork without 2 big tubes. And the best color I've ever used is purple and green pumpkin, purple flake green pumpkin.
I like a little purple one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why the purple, what it does, but the purple and green pumpkin is probably the best color I've ever used.
Well, I tell you, purple, one thing it did, I'm always trying to pay attention to details, but I noticed one time a smallmouth when I was looking, and it was a picture, but if you turned it a certain way, there was a purple hue. Now, depending on where it is, I mean, they're black or green, there's a lot of different color patterns, but sometimes you turn that fish a certain way, there's a purple hue that, and of course, crappie, same way. Crappie can have some purple in them, and bluegill. I mean, they're all multicolored.
Well, even the small bait fish in the river have a purple hue in them. You know? So again, you know, this time of year in November, the crawl pattern is really big. Like Jason was talking about, you can go to Anna, Potomac. Of course, the crawl is a little different color of Potomac, but you know, the David Frittside, this is good crankbait.
Good crankbait.
Yeah, that color works really, really well. And I always, you know, square bill.
Color.
Most of the rivers are shallow, but you especially like North Fork's really shallow. So when you get in them little pools, you get something that'll dive 4 to 6 feet. They'll just annihilate it, you know.
And crankbait's another thing that you could talk for days on. You could have a
Yeah.
class between square bills, regular depth of it, tight rattles, longer
Right.
hunting wobbles,
Yeah.
and then
Silent.
silent. Or I mean, it's you could colors on that. Like
And the thing, you know, the colder the water gets, the more you want to take that wide wobble. And most people don't know, but the fatter the crankbait, the more the wobble. And they talk about flat side crankbaits. And in the wintertime, you want something that's not as
Tight.
aggressive. You want it tight. So a flat side works really, really well in colder water. And then my last is like the guy was saying a while ago, is the fluke. You can't go wrong no matter where you fish. This
any
is
time of
always,
year.
yeah. And there's different colors, you know. I fish white and I'll fish like a olive shad, you know, some with a little dark back, light
Baby
bottom.
bass.
Yeah, anything like that. But those for North and South Fork, you can't go wrong with any of those baits. You're going to catch fish.
Lonnie, in reference to the hair jig, what say, you know, as we get in late November temperature, I don't know what the temperature on the Shenandoah is running now.
It's
Is it-
in, well, this past week it's probably shot up over 60, but
Yeah.
it was at the
It
high
was
50s.
50s.
Yeah.
58.
Yeah.
Once it gets down there around 50 and you start fishing the hair jig more, is there, say, you know how it's a lot of times it's clear waters, is there a certain color hair jig you usually start with? I know, you know, it's the
I
thing you always
always,
can
I'll always start with like a brown and an olive.
do.
No,
You know,
Okay.
I'll sometimes I'll use one with a little orange in it just to see if
Uh-huh.
it'll make a difference. But most of the time it's like an olive and a brown.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I get into like deeper holes where it's like 15, 20 feet, then I'll go to black, like a
Okay.
black and
Yeah.
a blue. But I'll mix it up. I'll use like a black and a blue hair jig with a green pumpkin trailer, crawl trailer.
Oh, okay.
you know,
Yeah.
And it just gives it just a little bit different look.
You always use a trailer on your hair jig?
Yes, absolutely, 150%.
Okay.
Unless, you know, now there's some hair jigs that are made out of rabbit fur.
Mm-hmm.
They're called zonker hair.
Mhm.
Yeah. No fly fish, man.
That's
So
right.
and those they have a trailer on them. They, you know, they have a long tail.
okay,
Something
yeah.
like that, I won't do it.
Right. You the trailer, I guess, you know, of course, what I usually try to use is one of the, you know, not one of the real fluttering.
Yeah, you don't want a lot of action.
That venom makes a nice little,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
you know, trailer that I find it.
The colder the water gets, the less action you want. You want
Yeah.
to, and you're going to fish a lot slower, you know, like, but as the water warms, you know, they'll get more
Right.
active, but early in the mornings and when that water's like in the 40s, that you just want that thing just barely
Right.
move.
And the biggest thing too is when we're getting colder temperatures, move your bait slow. Just when you got to slow down, just slow down.
Mhm.
When you think you're going slow down some more.
Yeah, I've caught some of my biggest smallmouths and on the Shenandoah in the dead of the winter using actually one of those little gulp flukes, black
Yeah.
gulp fluke on a little
Small.
jig head, just basically cast out there and
Yeah,
not
they
do
think
hardly
it-
anything with it.
They think it's mad.
You know,
time.
it's that little, yeah,
Yeah.
right on the bottom. It's
That
just-
blade baits, when it gets below 50, I'm throwing a blade bait. And I like the Tamiki bolts. But those things, I've even been on Anna, I've caught some good bass. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. There was little hooks, but they catch some good ones. Smallmouth too.
So we have, Carl, if you get back to the camera. So we have 22 questions, and at one point we had over 60 people watching right now. So yeah, thanks all of you guys to watch us. I know these episodes are getting really highly in demand. So I'm thinking what we'll do is oh wow, you zoomed in real quick. God damn, it's like an airplane crashing into the side of a mountain. I mean that's
Brian Henry, this will
that's-
actually be Beverly Hillbillies, not here.
yeah. So we'll go this one. So Brian Henry said, "Is this an episode of Hee Haw of Hee Haw?"
That's right.
So we're gonna blast through my baits real quick, and then what we're gonna do, guys, just for executive time, I'm gonna do a Patreon only live stream tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about in depth of the tournament stuff for tomorrow, just in case we don't get to it tonight. So some of the baits that I have for November, and I'm gonna attack this more of a lakefront. I think you're really getting into swim bait season, and to me, swim bait season really cuts into two parts, which is underspins and then just pure swim baits. And this is what I want to do. This is a tackle tip I have for you guys. If you're not wanting to commit to an underspin, get yourself your favorite jig head you have And then now you don't have to special order these as much, but get screw lock blades. You can keep them in your pocket. And then if you feel like you need to add a little bit of a blade, you can screw it right into your swim bait and then boom, you just multitask there versus going with something like this. Yeah, works good on a Senko too.
does.
I also put this sometimes on a Ned rig as well, a lighter Ned rig to give it some flash. So you can just lift it right up and over some of those ledges. But either one of these will work fine. I personally I'll have this in the boat and then I'll keep this in my pocket anytime I fish a swim bait. If I feel like I'm not getting bit, I'll put this on real quick. And if I feel like the bites actually go up, then I'll think about tying an underspin on as well. That's the number one thing when I'm fishing like a Lake Anna, something like that. I'm going to get into the swim bait bite. Umbrella rigs start playing for me really in December is really when I'll get into umbrella rigs. So I'm going to tide that over for the December edition. The other one is the Flashy Swim. This is a 3 or a 4/0 is fantastic for the tidal Potomac to give it a little bit more flash. No one for some reason, tidal fishermen are so set in their ways that there's like 6 baits that they'll throw and that's it. And it's crazy that the guy that won the 2-day Super BFL, he won it on a fluke because everyone was fishing a frog. And he's like, well, if I throw a fluke, it's going to sink into the holes. And those fish have never seen that before.
Right. He's probably fishing away.
I know.
Yeah, he's fishing-
I don't
yeah,
fish
fishing
out
a
of
weightless.
Senko.
But it's little differences, but they're so set in their ways. You put flash on that swim bait, you're going to get a couple extra bites. If I throw a jerk bait, I have a spy bait tied on. I really feel like anytime the jerk bait bite dies, go to a spy bait or something like that. Carly, you should like the spy bait very well since this is what you caught your game-winning fish on. I described this to her. It's a swim bait with treble hooks. You cast it out and you slowly reel it back in. That, and then of course, as always, if you're fishing smallmouth, you have to have gulp. This is one of the best Damiki style baits possible. One thing I would suggest with this is you have to put a dab of super glue on it to keep it on. It is so mushy. No matter what hook stop you have on there, it will come undone. Everyone has seen gulp. Y'all know what it looks like. I'm gonna check that.
Take off your hook before you put it away.
Yeah, that's the
though.
stuff.
You better
that gets
well
hard,
believe
that
it.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that you will ruin your hook.
Super glue, amazing. You always have it on you.
Right there.
You know, he's talking about the screw-in blades. Rapid Fishing Solutions makes
Rapid fishing
some good,
solution.
some good blades just to carry in your tackle box. You know, real easy, real small, real perfect for Ned or just like Thomas was talking about.
And sometimes there's subtle little changes like adding that.
Flash.
That's all you need to do.
Mhm.
It's those little changes. And then you're going to start triggering some
And it's something where you don't have to cut and retie. You just keep it in your pocket,
Right.
throw it on real quick,
Exactly.
and then see if it works. We're getting into jig season here. I think if you can get a custom jig, and after talking to so many people on the show, if you can get a custom jig tied for your specific bodies of water, that will 100% be the best option. So if you're going with a custom jig, I literally just had a custom jig, the one you all just talked about. So yeah, is it right there? Thank you. I'm like, I'm losing my mind. Rogers is you. I think we already showed the Rogers, I believe. So yeah, Rogers jigs. That's another good one for local Shenandoah. If you had to pick a generic type, I like the dirty jigs, archaic style head. I feel like that head size gets through stuff pretty well, but also the headbanger from Ike, that one gets through stuff too. So if you're fishing between 20, 15 feet of water, offshore brush, Smith Mountain Lake, Lake Anna, I like those 2 style heads for that. I don't have one on me now, but the reason I like the archaic style head, like Dirty Jigs has, is you can also swim it too pretty efficiently. So you don't have to just drag it. I like multi-tool baits where I can do a couple of things with it, which is why, that head style is so perfect. You can throw it different places.
You can swim
And
it,
yep.
drag it, hop it. Yeah.
Anything with it. And the problem with the swim head jigs now is like they're so narrow, you can't do anything but swim it. And
Right.
it's annoying.
Yeah.
Because I used to get some bites where after you're dragging it, you just rip it off the bottom
Right.
and start swimming it.
Yeah.
And it works really good. The other thing that I did have a lot of success with in this last tournament at Big Slack, only thing I could get them to bite on was a drop shot for some reason and a Carolina rig. I got the Carolina rig in practice. It didn't work as well in the tournament, but I'm going to go through both setups. Drop shot wise, it was a Kitech. It was the Easy 2 Shiner. And then it was also basically smallmouth crack, which was the Maxent flatworm. Please don't take out the camera.
Yeah, that Berkeley Maxent crawl, that real tiny one on
Oh,
the jig, that thing.
They're so money. You need a bunch of them though,
Yeah.
because they do
Yeah,
not
you-
last
you-
long.
Yeah, you better buy several.
We got into a school of Google eyes. So Big Slack, there's a section where it's between 15 to 20 feet of water. And we're basically fishing just the riffles like it would be if it was like 10 inches. and we kept getting bites and they kept tearing them off. And it turned out to be the biggest school of Google eyes possible. So get a bunch of them is the point of that. The Carolina rig, this is what I do with the Carolina rig. 2 types of weights, Lindsay no snag, or I'm so glad you guys started to have this here, is a snake weight.
Oh, I got both of them.
Yeah, both of these are also spoiled. This will work on a drop shot too if it's super snaggy. Because I was talking to Ken. Ken, thank you for being my boat partner. I hate tungsten for drop shot because you're going to spend $100,000 that you're going to lose every other day when you break off your drop shot. Get the cheapest lead possible so you're not crying. I just don't think on a drop shot, if you had to pick, I think it's great for a shaky head things where you have bottom contact, but because it goes hook then lead, I don't know how much the bottom sensitivity helps compared to how much you're going to snag and lose it if it's $5 a pop. So these are really good for being not super snaggy. Putting this, and I'll go with the lighter version. This is a 1/2 ounce. I'll go lighter to a 1/8. Same thing with this snake weight, and I'll go with a spinning reel setup so I can get max cast distance and a short leader. And you can drag a small bait and just give them a different look, but you'll get through most of your riffles with this. And then again, just don't cast like straight up current. Maybe cast at a little bit of an angle with that. If you want to toss that to her.
You know, reference to that weight there, they also make a little lead banana weight that, you know, it's relatively cheap.
Oh
and
yeah.
it works actually really good.
You know. I'll put a picture of that too in the episode description as well. And I think that's pretty much, and then 1/0 Gamakatsu or Berkeley. Sometimes I go with a 2/0 for the drop shot hook. Pretty simple. One thing I want to ask all of you guys, what is your idea for the best leader knot? So I was a diehard FG guy.
I use a W.
And then I had a guy on the boat yesterday, Kenny, thanks for telling me this, that the FG will actually, the amount of work you do to put the FG into your leader material, if the leader is too light, it actually damages the line.
Yeah.
And so, and I just, that clicked in my mind, like that might be an issue I have with my FG.
And the more you wrap line like that, and once you start cinching it, even you know, you should spit on it or get it wet or whatever. You put your mouth, you can feel it heating up, and that takes the strength out of that knot. So that's the biggest thing. The more wraps you make, just understand that's the more contact line that's going to be your cinching up. I mean, you know, I do a double uni, I do 7 to 8 wraps. That's it. And I mean, it works phenomenal. But the FG knot, it's a good knot.
Yeah.
But you just got to be careful, you know, make sure that you don't stress the knot.
I like the FG knot due to the fact that you know I can tie that thing. It's you can't hardly separate it from the line. I mean, it's
yes,
it's one
it's good. It's
continuum.
an excellent.
I mean,
knot.
you know, in reference to that, I mean, and basically, I mean, it's worked for me. I used to use the double uni, but I can get it's a little more bumpy.
My eyes got
Casting.
bad, so the less I have to wrap and tie,
I know,
the faster I can get it done.
Yeah.
I love the FG still though for my swim bait rod. I'll go braid to a fluorocarbon for my bigger swim baits. And what I like is on the bait caster, it goes straight onto the spool without a problem. But when I got down to 6 and 4 pound test, I really started to be conscious now of if I'm too aggressive when I'm tying that FG,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a problem.
What you got to do with that FG if you're using that light line, you got to do a lot more wraps. I mean, you got to do.
Yes,
You know,
it's a
you
ton of
got to
wraps.
do 25 or 30. I'm serious because when you're using if you're using 8 pound to 10 pound, 8 pound fluoro or something like that to 10 pound braid, it's really you don't have to do as many wraps. But you get down that 4 pound test, if you don't really do the extra wraps, you'll pull it right out. It'll happen.
With that lighter line, you can
Yeah.
slip.
Yeah. You have to just do a lot more wraps, but it'll hold. I mean, I tell you, when I was this past week fishing up north, I was using 4 pound test on 8 pound test
Are you serious?
braid,
Catching 5 pounds.
and I was catching 5 pound smallmouth. Never had
You
a
can
break
do
off.
it, you know, as long as you don't have a lot of wood or something like that. You know, up in Susquehanna, the rocks is your biggest enemy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean-
as long as you check your line, and you can catch them on 4 pound test.
And that reminds me too. Make sure jigs or whatever you're using. Make sure you every so often check it too. There's
Yes.
nothing.
Oh, you
I
got to.
check that and the thing breaks. I'm like better there
Change
than on
it,
a bass,
retie.
and then retie and just get in the habit of retying and also feeling up your line because I did that too and I felt it and I went and sure enough, so cutting up that line because like you said,
Yes.
those rocks and the smallies are taking across those rocks. So
Are you
But
getting them
yeah.
shell beds and
You know,
hang up?
it's easy to forget.
Fluorocarbons, abrasive is resistant to a extent, but still you always want to at least like a foot or two up, just like you said.
And then what I started to figure out, and I could be completely off with this, and then don't worry, guys. I know we got like 10,000 questions. We're going to get to them here. The size of your leader is so important because of the stretch. The more stretch you have, even in fluorocarbon, the less it's going to damage your knot versus if you have 6 inches of leader and then you set the hook. And so what I started to do with my drop shot setup, because and you guys know, and you guys are going to know this on the Patreon stream, I broke off a big one because I was drop shotting on 4-pound test because I kept cutting down and my brain is like, I probably should retie a new leader, but I thought I could get one more out of it. I like 10 to 15 feet of leader. So when I cast, and if I set the hook too hard, I have that extra cushion.
Right.
Like it's almost better to have a little too much leader than not enough.
I don't think I ever used less than 6 or 7
foot?
foot of leader.
That's big.
Like when it's like right now the river's really clear, I went up to 10 feet.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, because I use braid on all my spinning rods.
Yeah.
And it's braid to floral. So, in the river, I mean, the water's so clear and it's low. So they see it, they see it really well. So I've gone to 10, as much as 10 feet, and it makes a difference.
I always use at least 10 feet. I'll go up even more at times. Yeah. You break off too. If you do break off,
on the Susquehanna,
you're not sitting there.
I don't use like 6 feet because it never gets more than 6 feet.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, if you get snagged and you pull off, if you have that much, you can get the
Yeah.
leader into your reel
Yes.
before you break.
Right.
Which I feel like
Yes,
you're going to get
exactly.
so much of your leader back if you can get
That's
into this
important
hole.
too, to be able to get it
Mhm.
just a turn or two into your reel. That makes a difference. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about 16, 18 inches, but I'm a big extra. I use that long leader.
What's your all favorite leader material? Actually, I don't think we talked about that.
I really like the Seaguar. I use Seaguar a lot. It just works. And I've used Berkeley and all of it, and the red label.
I like the red label.
Red
Yeah,
label
red
Seaguar.
label's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But I use Seaguar most of the time.
Cigar.
Yep, red label.
Cigar.
Cigar.
I use that
Cigar.
FC leader
Yeah,
leader line. You ever use that?
Sniper.
Sniper.
Sniper
yeah.
line.
Mhm.
I use Sniper. I use Sniper Sunlight. They came out with a new product that I'm going to try here. Hopefully,
Sniper line.
it's from it was ICAST this year.
From Australia.
It's from Sunline, but it's they took the fly fishing. They took the fly fishing thought process where it starts at like 15-pound test
Yes.
and it
Goes
tapers down
down
to 8.
Oh wow.
And I think that I don't know if it's out yet or not, but as
Yeah,
soon as it
it's
is, I'm
out.
gonna try it. Okay, it's out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that because
What's
that's
it called? What's it called?
It's tapered. It's actually, fly fishing years ago, early fly fishing, they made their own leaders and they would tie knots, So your first leader would be like 10 pound, then the next section of it would be 8, and that's how, because it had to be tapered. So now they've actually came out with tapered leader that you can buy that you tie
No
to.
knots, just straight.
Yeah, it's tapered down to
Tepa.
whatever test you want.
taper. I'm gonna speak
Yeah.
words, ladies and gentlemen. Tepa face leader,
The
FC
only
leader.
thing I could see about that is how much it's going to cost, and
Right.
because obviously if you break off,
Yes, it's going to get thicker.
Yeah.
Eventually, you have to change it
then
out
you're gonna
too.
lose. Then you're gonna lose what you're going for.
See,
too.
Yeah.
but see in fly fishing, they have a tapered leader, and then you put the little section onto that. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that breaks
Mm. Oh, okay.
Tip
So,
of taper.
so
So it's
Yeah.
fly line to leader to tip it.
to tip it.
but it's
Yeah.
so it's 2 leader knots you have to tie that.
Yeah.
Correct? Or
Yes,
3?
yeah.
1, 2, 2. Okay.
Two.
Yeah.
Too.
You tie one to your fly line, which now they got the loop knot thing connector, and
That's
then
interesting.
when your leader, if your leader's 9 foot, you always put like 1 or 2 foot of tippet on it. So that's what you tie your lure to, your fly.
The tippet line.
Yes, the tippet.
Especially if you're talking about like when you're talking about a brook trout in that the native trout in that stream and you're talking about crystal clear and
Yes.
so that's even, I mean, you're really, now you could still use, like if you're doing stock trout or something and it's
Yes,
a stream and good fast moving, you could just use regular,
I've
you
used-
know,
2 pound test
Yeah.
tippet
right.
on a leader. Yeah.
Have y'all ever heard that, like, if you look at this leader, the actual product, the leader line product versus just using, like, say, and I'm a big cigar fan as well, but just like using 8-pound cigar versus like a designated leader line. Have you heard about the actual tensile strength being better on on the line that's supposed to be designed for the leader?
That's a good
Y'all
question
heard-
because I'll just use regular.
I've never heard of
line.
it, but
I
I've
never-
used leader line
Uh-huh.
and I've used regular line and I've really never
Never know. Yeah. I just wondered, I've heard that it's really never made a difference, but I've heard that, that's kind of part of the design of why they come out with the
And
designated leader.
and
They've
line.
been doing that. They do it on for ocean fish.
So it looks like it's $10 for two 10-foot liters
so it's $10 for two 10-foot leaders.
is what they're selling it for.
So I
That's
don't.
probably about right. Fly leaders, they usually
Yeah.
run between $3 and $5 a piece.
Yeah.
But
It'll be $10 for two.
it kind of ties into this interesting question from R. Mark Parson. Congratulations, you just won a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. $5 gift card. Again, as always, guys, with gift cards, I'll get them out to you this week. Just email me at fishingdmedia@gmail.com, Instagram, or Facebook. The question is, can you really tell the difference between Seaguar Flora Leader and regular Red Label used as a leader?
Again, the brands, they all have their own way they make their fluorocarbon. I don't know if you can tell a difference, but I do know that there's some brands of fluorocarbon that when it gets cold they get really, really stiff, and some are more limber. And I don't know, I guess it's just what the resins they use. I don't know.
I think like all the baits in this shop, I think it's personal preference. I mean, your trilene, your strand, like it's old school, but I know Buco with the swim baits uses trilene, like in mono. Like it's not. I mean, I think it's engineered differently. There's certain things that get advantages. But I think when it really comes down to it, and I've tried all the different lines, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm telling you, you can go out and catch good fish with a strand or trilene now. But that's a great question. Can you tell the difference? And I think what you're saying, either memory or just how it feels too, because you can tell. Or like even when we throw lures on there, you can doesn't feel right, or so.
And that's just
It's a great question.
It comes back to preference too.
Right.
Personal preference.
How's it reacting?
Yes.
How's the casting? How do you feel when your hook's set?
Yep.
You got flex in your line. I mean,
Yep.
It's all those things. How's your bait traveling?
Well,
On that line.
and if you look at line, the diameter, a lot of these companies are
Yeah, that's
able
true.
to take the same pound test
Mhm.
and use a thinner diameter. So again,
Yes.
it will react different.
Same tensile strength. Like
Yeah.
we said before, case in point, 5-6 pound smallmouth on, and same you're talking about gulp, 4 pound. I've seen 4 pound test, big striper, and so again, drag set right. I mean, it's
It's
as long as it's
Yes.
not going to get. You could probably do that yourself, but if
Right.
and,
It's all about drag and,
Yeah.
and
working.
fighting the fish.
And
Dragging that pressure.
there's a lot of people. Buddy mine, Jeff Miller,
Yeah.
Jeff Wolford, Floyd.
Yeah.
They use just pure old mono.
I'm telling you,
8-pound
you can-
test
A lot of
on
the old guys.
8-pound test
Yeah.
or 8 or 6 pound test on
Mhm.
spinning
That's all
reel,
he
12-pound
uses,
test or
mono.
10-pound on bait caster. And man, they catch the slew of fish. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all what you kind of
all personal
But
preference. What
you
you're
know-
confident in.
Mono's come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in the 80s, monofilament, you used that stuff. If you put it on a spinning rod, you cast it, half the spool was coming off at the same time.
Yeah.
my problem.
But it's a lot better.
With mono, I think I kind of got spoiled with the sensitivity. It seems like with the braid,
Mhm.
versus and the stretch, of course, with the mono,
Mhm.
once again, some people it don't matter.
Well-
They catch the slew. They use
Mhm.
mono. They
My
don't.
opinion, everyone has a place.
That's right.
Mono, braid, and fluoro. There's a place in
Yeah.
the time.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to go semi-rapid fire questions. We have over 35 questions that we need to get answered here to get up to curb. And then we have the favorite section, the one that everyone craves because no one cares about anything else but having Jenny and Carly give us wisdom on colors and the sparkles. And we're also going to see their outfits here too. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bounce back and forth between the oldest and the newest questions. We're going to get these hammered out. And then I'm going to have the panel pick what good questions are, and we'll go from there. I think this is a good one here from William Barnes. In fly fishing, tapered leader came out in the 1980s. Sunline's products just selling it for spinning and bait casting. Yeah, it's taking a different market and they're rebranding it.
But I do think you're talking about hair too. I mean, you're talking about the fly guys. Hair, like there's hybrids too. There's the power fishermen are only going to use, but then you get into the hair and the hair jigs and the marabou, and then when you can cross those, I mean, so same thing applies for line. I mean, it's something you can kind of mesh together and catch fish by using both methods. Just no different than you were talking about saltwater before. Saltwater, Carolina rig. I mean, some of this stuff is not new. It's new to a bass fisherman, but the salt guys have been doing it for a long time. Been used for years, right?
It's like the spinning rod stuff, and this is why people are like, I instead of buying a $6,000 bait caster to skip under a dock, I when I was 18, for a birthday present, we went snook and red fishing, and they give you a pilcher, they put it on a circle hook, and you skip it under a dock with a spinning rod outfit that's jacked up, and then you're pulling these insanely monstrous fish out. But the bass community said, like, no, that's a sissy rod. It don't work.
Right.
And it's like,
But it does.
it's a fairy one. Yeah. And I'll tell you, if you get a surf rod and then you can skip a mag draft as best, and this is the biggest thing, time efficiency. If I blow up a bait caster in an 8-hour tournament, that thing is pretty much done.
Yeah.
I have to be perfect with that or I'm done. But if you get a beefier spinning gear setup, you're not going to have that issue when you're skipping docks. So that's just where you're taking it from one segment and you're moving it somewhere else where it'll work.
You want to learn to skip, start out with spinning rod.
Absolutely. Let's see. Let's go with, here's another one good from the River Goat. P-line is my go-to leader material, and the Alberta knot, quick to retie and strong. I definitely know I'm going to start learning the Alberta knot again just to have both.
Yeah, it's a good knot.
And P-line's gained a lot of traction. It's a popular brand here.
Oh yeah, P-line's a good line.
The Japanese, the way their detail.
Years ago, I didn't like P-line, but I used some here a couple months ago. Actually, wasn't bad, but years ago, I had a lot of trouble.
Their line's
breaking.
definitely improved over the last 5-6 years. Definitely.
Ooh, here's a good one from Lord.
Jim F. There's some good YouTube videos on the PR knot if you don't know how to tie it. If there's one knot you guys would want to learn or try to put into your repertoire, what would it be? Any other knot that you guys want to start using or wish you could get better at?
There's that knot that on what is it, the jerk bait, or I forget what it's called, a loop knot.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah, I
give it a
try
little
that
more.
on
You do that on
crankbaits,
flukes
jerk
too, or no? Jerk
Crankbaits.
crankbaits.
Soft flukes. Yeah, I use on crankbaits.
Crankbaits.
What you do is the best way to do that, if you're going to throw it on a crankbait or something, take the split ring off. Just hook it to the eye.
Okay.
Because the split ring
Makes sense.
Yeah, the split ring will mess it up.
Brew Tank. This is a great question. Brew Tank, here you go. You just want a gift card to Chick-fil-A for $5. Maryland only let y'all use 2 hooks on the umbrella rig, right? I've never thrown them. What are the laws for the umbrella rig?
Is it different per state?
As far as Virginia, you could throw all 5. I mean,
I think Maryland's 3, maybe. I mean, don't quote us on this, but there is different. You got to know your
Yeah.
state regs.
yeah.
And
That's
each
what
state
you
is
gotta
different.
check it out.
Yep.
They will check you on
That
that.
rig came out. It
Oh,
was like
yeah.
10 hooks on that son of a bitch, and one cast, you're done for the day.
You talk about wearing out your shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You throw
Definitely.
that thing all day.
Well, there's that farmer's umbrella rig is like 2-tiered, and it's got.
Looks like a chandelier.
Yes, it does, and it's got, I don't know, maybe 10 hooks.
You
I
know
don't
where
know,
that came from. That came from saltwater.
8 or 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
Sure,
Same
did it?
thing. Yeah.
We talked about that's
All
that
lies.
old school. It's got its place and it's
All
transferred
lies.
over.
Yeah,
Won
it
the
is.
tournament on it.
And guess what? Those fish are pretty smart because it used to be where you could fill a limit one cast, and now they're starting to shy away from it. It's not.
Yes.
It's not the silver bullet it used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
No, they get accustomed to it. Paul Elias won that tournament on it, and it just went spiraled out of control after that. Everybody was
Mm-hmm.
That's something I said. Like forward facing sonar too.
Like, so Big Slack it's basically Egypt bent on steroids. It's massive. And they are getting used to forward facing sonar.
Yeah, I've seen that on his.
I'm starting to see it like when you would come up to them and you'd shine it. And I swear to God, they turn. And so the bigger ones specifically, you hit them with that beam and all of a sudden
that happen. How far out?
I'm seeing it if it's under 8.
35?
Yeah,
feet?
under 80 feet, 100%. Like if it's 30, they're gone. Like rarely do they stay. At 100-ish, you can hit them and they don't move as much. Ken, you can talk about this. We found this one log that was straight up and down in about 12 feet of water. It came up to 5 feet of the surface. And when we shine on it, there were 2 perfect images on that thing. They looked like bass. They acted like bass because they would leave when our boat came back. And then when we would come back, they would set right back up. And then I threw a glide bait out to see if they would follow it, because thought like it's crappie, that sucker's not going to follow us. They followed it, pulled them off. They stayed off, and then they go back to the tree. We thought it was a bass. When I got within about 80 feet under, pointing at them, they would just move off. And we'd leave, and then when I cranked that thing out to 120 and I tried to stare at them, I could see that they were still there. So I don't know if it was my trolling motor or the forward-facing sonar, but if I stuck them, as I got closer, they just started to shy away. It was so weird. So I don't know how that's going to change fishing.
Well, I think like deer are the same way. Like they're curious too, though. So they might go away, but they're going to still come back because they don't know what it is. They're going to check it out. And I think fish the same way. They're curious.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think so.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're right.
And it might spook them, even if you throw in. People talk about soft entry and stuff, but even if you spook them, they might be skittish, but they're gonna turn back around because what was that? And they're gonna come back and they're gonna check it out. So
Yeah, I think it's going to change a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's going to push fish shallow.
I think you're right. I think the more people that get it, it's going to push fish shallow. I think.
I mean, it works, but you get two foot of water, 2-3 foot. Yeah.
And not to make this a whole panoptics thing where we get your questions, but it's, and I was telling, Ken, I was telling you this in the boat the other day. It's not how many fish I've seen sniping. It's all the other data that I got from it. It's insane.
Yeah.
When areas not to fish anymore, that to me is like how much time I would waste on like this point used to work. And then you shine like there's not a damn thing here.
Right.
I'm gone. And that to me, or your cast lineup, when you see the brush pile, you cast to it and then you pan away. So you're not just torturing them with radar.
Time in a tournament.
So much time. And still how those fish disappear on you. Those fish were so sandwiched to the rock. We weren't looking for fish, generally speaking. You'd find a nothing little ledge and it looked like nothing there. You throw your drop shot out, and as soon as it hit bottom, they'd come up and go look at it. Even with the $100,000 of technology, they can still hide from you, which is insane to me. It is. It really is. Back to the questions. Sorry, let's see. Here's a big one. Big Mike's Chronicles. I'd like to give you all guys a tip and figure out last year. I had got. Let's try to read now. I would like to give you guys a tip that I figured out last year. I had got me the smallest frog I could find, and it was very warm. So I was working that small frog through those leaves, and they crush it. A small frog in the leaves. That's interesting. I didn't know that at all. Let's see here. Let's pull out another one here. Okay. What does Travis have something nice to say? I see Jared has his Monday suit on. Stopped by today and picked up 2.5. That's a big word. Yeah. Yamatanikis. Stop it. Can't wait to try them on the Doa.
Yeah, they'll work.
thanks, Travis. Nobody dresses better than you, Travis.
Let's see here. Talk to him all day. I can start like yeehaw. We already answered that
Palmer
one.
has a good question there.
Chris Palmer. This one here.
Yeah,
That's
my son.
Chris Palmer. And then Chris, I know the link's not going through. Don't worry about it. Guys, I'm re-uploading this as the podcast episode and on YouTube tomorrow. It'll have a link to all of the guide service questions and everything. Facebook's being weird with links right now, but everything will be linked down below.
In my boat, I'm going to say, I tried to figure it up one time, and it's in the $10,000 range, just tackle.
On your boat.
On my boat.
Do you have equal amount in the garage or in the basement too?
I don't talk about what's in the building.
You don't talk about the building. So it's
Only
we
what's
can
in the
double or
boat.
triple that. It's just 10,000 any one time in the.
Yeah. I'm probably about $8,000-$9,000.
I wouldn't even know where to. I mean,
Yeah, it's hard.
It's-
It's
Probably a guess estimate.
Yeah. That's just a guesstimation.
if you're like me too, the problem I don't take inventory. I don't have a good accurate inventory. So I'll think I'm out, or I'll be like, man, I like it. I'll buy it. I'll go home. I've already got 2
I
packs
can
of it.
tell you
and I'm
where
like,
every bait.
really?
Yeah, I'm OCD. So I know where
You got
every
it
bait
organized.
is. Yes, down to what depth and everything. And I carry 32 rods on my boat all.
32
My
rods.
God.
He does. He really does.
Wow.
I will show you.
Your
how to
wife
put-
was just like, so there you go. There's some like, hey, I need to get some more. Lonnie's got 32. I got another 20.
Well, and that's an express, a rod locker,
'cause I
but it's not
broke,
very
like,
big,
3
and
of
I
them.
got all 32 rods.
Wow.
Of course, if we did a ratio per age, Thomas.
Yeah, that's true. These guys are older.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
talking earlier about the. I thought he was going to bring up the Indians, like when he was hanging out with the
yeah,
Indians,
yeah.
with the fly fishermen and stuff.
I don't want to go
Like,
back
man, when
that
he was
far,
talking
you know,
earlier.
but
I
I got a little age on me. But you know what? I grew up in a great time. So
You
Right.
Mm.
Sure
What
did.
can I say?
Chris, you just won a gift card to let's go a $5 gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle.
How much
Again,
you got?
Instagram,
Doc?
Facebook, or email me,
Uh,
and I'll get that to you.
Basically, I just end up carrying out I try to figure out where I'm going. I'll just have my one or two tackle bags, but I'll have them designed or fixed up for wherever I'm fishing.
I'll probably get robbed.
Yeah, they're loaded.
loaded.
And then I'll have, I usually carry 8 to maybe 10 rods. Depends on if I'm fishing by myself or with somebody. If I'm with somebody, I may cut
Doc
it
can't
down.
retire yet, so that's how much tackle he owns. Just to give you an
I was
idea.
going to say too. What I'm understanding is that we got to remember this, Thomas. When you get to retirement, obviously you're going to be on a fixed income, so you have to get everything you need to before
Yes.
the income comes in.
That's
So,
exactly right.
and if you got to hide it
Yes,
on the
you
wife
gotta
or whatever,
get-
you got to get it.
all this before you retire.
And then that way, when
That's
the-
why
yeah.
I'm in process.
Yeah. So I've been collecting lures since 1980. So I used to, when I fished tournaments, I started fishing tournaments in 1980. I would go to a tackle shop that was on the lake,
Yeah.
and I made it every time I went in, I made it a thing to buy at least 2 lures.
Okay, I gotta ask this question. Okay, in your life since the Indians, what is one lure that you will never sell? You might not use it, but you just want to own it.
I know what it is.
That I have or
Have or one, either or.
one lure. I've got a storm lure. They don't make anymore. It's crankbait.
Crank, yeah.
And they stopped making them in the early 90s.
You probably don't throw it anymore either,
It's
do
the
you?
one where the
Oh no, I bought extra when I
Oh,
got
did
them.
you? You got plenty?
Yeah,
the one
I'll-
with the underbody's worn so bad it got cut in half because the hooks
Yeah.
was.
but let me tell you guys something. If somebody tells you you can have one lure in my box, go to the box and get the one that is the most beat up
Yep.
lure
Yep.
he's
Yes.
got.
Missing an
It's got a
eyeball.
line right
that
there.
one is the one that's caught the most.
Yeah. And then that's what you. Yeah, that's true.
Yep, it's true. Yep. It ain't gotta be pretty.
No.
It would be a crankbait. Yeah, I got one. I got some worth a lot of money.
All right. Okay, we're getting through these questions because we already had 15 new ones come in. My goodness, we are live. Yep, we bounced up to like 45. We're back down to 35 people. We got Jerry. You say this question.
I typically fish the South Fork of the Shenandoah in late spring. Are the water temps this time of year similar to, or will water temps drop faster in the fall as days go shorter?
Yes, absolutely. Water temperatures now are in the 50s, and it's supposed to be what, in the 30s this week.
Well, this week it's going to be a cold front coming through.
So
water temps are gonna
the
drop.
South Fork's going to
Mm,
drop
5 degrees.
dramatically.
But what people need to understand, and we didn't know, is as it drops, especially for smallmouth, I'm speaking all water, smallmouth on these rivers prefer it colder. And so don't, just because I know it's hunting season, all the way from now until the winter, some of the largest fish all year could be caught in the next 3 or 4 months. And so
Yeah,
just
And-
get that
and
straight
there's
in your
a big
mind.
opportunity too. It's the colder it gets. If you can bear the elements. If you get a mild day at 45, you can go out
Mhm.
there and fish. You're
That's
going to
right.
be fishing by yourself
That's right.
more than likely.
Right.
It's going to give you the opportunity to get on fish that if you have 15 or 20 boats on the water, it's going to be a little different in fishing this section. But this is the time you can go out there and enjoy it and slow down.
Yep.
And you can catch some really
And
good
quality's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on Riverton in March this year. The water temperature was in the 40s, and I caught that smallmouth. It was 5 pounds, 5.62 pounds
Yeah.
on a hair jig, and water. I caught fish 39-degree water on Riverton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smallmouth.
Do you guys ever wash a jig in the current? This is from Justin Rush. What is washing a jig?
How
Yeah,
about Jason?
Probably
Justin,
just
what do you
casting
mean by
it.
that?
What do you say? Yes.
Probably
Right,
casting
Lonnie?
it up, letting
Actually-
it wash.
Let it
down.
wash down in the current.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. What
Oh,
he's
okay.
talking about is it's the same way you do like a tube. When you throw it up,
That's rush species.
you're letting
Oh,
it.
gotcha.
You
Okay.
you keep your rod. You want to keep it just like coming on the bottom with the current.
Kind of washed down.
Yes.
That's the same thing we talked about up there at Susquehanna. Where you throwing that
Yes.
dirt bait,
Mhm.
throwing, just let it in the
Yeah.
rivers.
Mhm.
Well, that's kind of like just sitting still. But what he's talking about is you throw it up.
Let
Let
the
it
current
wash
take
down.
it.
Yeah, you keep your rod. You just want it to just kind of just stay with the current and just let it come
That's
down.
a
And
great
the
technique.
Smallmouth.
Yeah.
When
That
they
sounds
sit
like a
it,
mad
they'll
top
sit it up.
technique to me.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is. That's another trout fisherman with
Yes.
the drift,
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
drift. I mean,
Yeah, because trout.
Yeah.
If it ain't the same speed as that drift,
yeah, that's right.
they won't even.
That's
look
why, like you said too, even throwing out behind and letting the boat just drift.
Yes.
Staying the boat current drift will give you a more natural.
Right.
Presentation.
Let's see. So. What is wash shake? You got that? So got that. I went to mono across the board. That's a good one. Let's see. I think we're almost semi caught up, and then I might have to do a. Okay, here's a good one. Mark Burke, you just won a gift card to Chick-fil-A, $5. Same old. Actually, I have your number. Never mind. I'll get out to you. Shaky head or jigging worm?
Shaky head for me. Just different presentations, how you can fish as fast, slow. For me, it's a shaky head, but somebody else could be the jig one.
Shaky.
I like shaky.
Shaky head. All right, I think we're gonna get about 2 more questions in, guys, and then we'll maybe at the back end, if people want to stay longer, we can do some more questions. But I want to keep this under 10 hours. Let's go. What was that other question? We had a really cool one. I thought this was interesting. Here we go. We got Beaver Hall, and yeah, I know I said you had second place. I'm sorry, he actually had 4th place. My apologies. Beaver Hall, can you guys get a hold of the old 101 pork roin? Roin?
He's talking about the pork rind.
Pork rind. Pork rind.
Uncle Josh's.
Bro,
Uncle
Josh. They
got some.
Butch Ward showed me the trick to them. Plus, I still today make the jigs the way Butch showed me. Also, not by blood, but by marriage, I'm related to Butch Ward. I didn't know that until the tournament day. Yeah, never knew that. But apparently, her family's mother twice removed. Butch Ward. There you go. Her family's got 10,000 people in it. It's like, yeah, they're Spanish.
Yeah, that uncle. If it's Uncle Josh, it was very, very popular, and evidently they had a shortage on pork because it's actual pork rind,
right?
And they discontinued it for long enough that when they brought it back, it lost its. It never came back.
Oh,
and so things, but we have it. We got
there's another company. There's some other companies making
it.
My dad.
It was very effective. Yeah,
loved it.
So we did that one. And this is, guys, we're getting to the point. We're getting big enough that I'm going to need like a admin for this chat. Good God, you guys are just pumping them out. Here we go. We got 2 more, and then we got Phil Liggins. I typically fish the South for no. We already did that one. Oh, good. This is awesome. Sweet. I'm actually getting caught up. That's amazing. Where was that? There's a good one about I don't fish. Oh, here it is. Oh, there it is. Uncle Josh's juice. No, Uncle Josh's pig. Pork. I don't know what. Yeah, you don't want his juice. I don't fish many jigs due to the experience, but would a football jig or a swim jig be better suited for the leaves you just mentioned? So that was earlier.
Jig is made for like rock.
They don't have
And
that
like,
good. This is the big
Aaron
one.
was
I like
talking
it.
about,
101.
the Arky head.
Yeah.
Arky head jig is basically you want to fish the bottom. When you got leaves like that, those bass, they're going to push to the bottom because they're going to be in the water column coming down. So they're going to get real close to the bottom. They're not going to be up in there and try dodging all these leaves and stuff. So you want to fish bottom baits. When you got a lot of leaves like that, that's the only way without pulling in a lot of leaves, I guess.
I think we got, guys, actually, we did a thing. We got all caught up on the questions. That's amazing. So we just blast through 45 questions. So what we're going to do is, if you guys have some closing thoughts, if we get a couple more questions, and if you want to stick around and answer them, great. But Carly and Jenny, you've been sitting around here, and Cole. Oh, why not?
Good.
There we go. That's the defeatist attitude I want.
Yeah.
So guys, don't worry. We'll have them back on to do some closing thoughts. We're just going to switch it out so these girls can go home. Thank you so much. Again, guys, please hit the like and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithm. And again, this episode will be uploaded tomorrow. Hopefully, sleep I don't need. I'll put a link in the episode description to the Brothers Guide Service. And I'll put a link in for Doc because he's awesome. I don't know what I'm linking, but we'll link something. And also huge shout out to Doc for winning the costume contest. That picture will drop tomorrow. It's pretty awesome. Let's see. And then while we're segueing here to the new group, and then Carly, if you could like put that camera on me real quick, that way it gives you guys the ability to get set up. And with the magic of Hollywood, as she zooms in on my face, you won't see all the other chairs. Perfect. Up a little bit more, and then brighten that bad boy up a little bit. I know this is gonna be hideous. You guys are not gonna really like this here. I know. You're looking at me like, oh my gosh.
What the
but,
hell
yeah,
is
it's a little
even
crazy
that?
here. Yeah, so guys, tournament went. Yeah, while you guys are setting up, I'm just going to be talking just to keep things going here. Yesterday, I got to fish the Butch Ward competition. And again, first of all, huge shout out to Cole and Ken for winning the Butch Ward. That was absolutely.
What the hell is even that?
That's what I'm saying. Curtis Cole, thank you. You did really good. You guys won 8 pounds, 15 ounces. That place was really tough. It really was. I was, for some reason, expecting a little bit bigger weights, but that's because I started to listen to the doc talk way too much. And I heard people in practice saying it might take 10 pounds, 12, 13 possibly to win this thing. And it really didn't. It fished extremely tough. I think the top 5 had 8 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the data out in front of me. We were managed about 5, which is for my first time fishing there. Guys, granted, this is my first year fishing Big Slack at all. So I have a pretty good understanding of the summertime bite there. I have no idea how to fish that place in the fall. My plan is tomorrow night, I'm going to do a live stream, Patreons only. We're going to go through detail about that tournament and how that goes through. But what we're going to do now is we have the segment everyone waits for. No one cares about the Basson brothers or Doc or Jared. What they care about is these people's opinions on colors. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go turn the camera. We have the Legends. I'm going to get the camera set up for these. Get on in there.
Let me move over to the other side.
How's that?
Get cozy.
Oh, I told Tom I didn't like the picture of the camera. There you go, Cole. There's your camera.
That's perfect.
Or we can share mine.
It don't matter.
We can share.
I'm not picky.
Okay. Yeah. I'm Granny.
Who am I? Ellie Mae.
You're Ellie Mae.
But I'm Ellie Mae.
We're the Beverly Hillbillies.
I'm Ellie Mae dressed up like a scarecrow, jack-o'-lantern, kind of.
And Cole didn't even know who the Beverly Hillbillies were. So.
But he's a country boy, obviously. He's got his cowboy boots.
That's right.
He's ready to rock and roll. Me too. Look at that. Oh, you can't see. Yeah.
All right. Who's first?
Cole's first.
Cole's first. So this is our first time bringing Cole on. He was a little nervous. We said he could join us today. I started. Anyway, so Cole's going to tell us about his favorite baits.
Yeah. And it was pretty easy because I throw the same things all the time. And I don't really fish this time of year. First off, Hen Torpedo.
Just do one thing.
I'll just do one thing.
Right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
You don't get to see.
Tommy,
Hen
come get
Torpedo,
the bait.
right
Shut off.
there.
Need to work for it. Oh.
Summertime
close to
top
us.
water bite. I don't fish this time of year, but I've caught more fish on this than I have any other bait.
Do you fish?
Yeah.
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 Summertime.
He's
Just
not
not
like
this time
us.
of year. I'm hunting this time of year. I don't fish this
And he
time of year,
works
but-
here, so he learns a lot.
Exactly. So that's number one.
All right. I do new things. I don't do what I like to use. I just do what we got in. And these have been super hot Nichols spoons. All right. So I got the mini, I got the Lake Fork Flutter Spoon, and the Mojo. So we got these in. You can see them.
I actually supposed to do one at a time.
Well, I've got categories.
You're cheating.
No, I got more than y'all.
Okay.
She gets spaced out. She looks like she's.
No, I'm fine. I got my little bucket. I got my little bucket. I'm good. So we got the spoons in, the nickel spoons. They've been really hot. Apparently, a lot of people have been using them on Lake Frederick lately.
Yeah.
So, but word of advice: make sure you have a heavy rod. A guy came in today. His friend was using a medium heavy, and he kept breaking his rod and losing things and
Ooh,
stuff like
no.
that. So he came in and finally bought a Dobbins Fury so he could throw his big spoons.
Nice.
Carly's up.
Right. So y'all know because of the TikToks and content I've been pushing that Jake's Bait and Tackle's biggest sale ever is like ending tomorrow. So if you want to take advantage of any of the merch they've got going on right now, like everything's marked down by like $5 less than like asking price originally. 20%.
If not more.
Plus more. And then if you're a Patreon member to Fishing the DMV, you get an extra 5% off. So like come in and take advantage of it. So I just went through all of the stuff they had on sale and picked out really shiny looking things. All right. So I found it's a duo. It's a micro
I think those are awesome. I don't know why people haven't.
Microdon. What I really like about this, it looks kind of like a jerk bait, but it also is it looks like it's gonna have like great action in the water because it's
It's like a mini spin.
broken up in like 3 different pieces, and it's gonna have great action, as Jake or
Right
as
there.
Jared likes to say, for Jake's Bait and Tackle. All right, so that's my pick of the evening.
All right,
Cole's
My
turn.
turn again.
Your turn.
All right.
What do you got?
Number 2. Hmm?
Oh, he does. You have your own mic. Look at that. Never mind.
Number 2, we got the
I don't think you need to do that.
this the 4-inch Young Dinger. Cheap. I like them. I like the color.
And they're cheap, yeah.
They're cheap.
Super
For the college
Wacky. Exactly. Budget bait here. Budget bait.
budget thing.
Ooh, yeah.
Wacky rig, Texas rig, anything.
Very
I catch
versatile.
fish on these
And Cole, all year round.
all year round.
Right.
Exactly.
Can't go wrong.
All right. Next new thing I've got is Z-Man. So everybody's been asking about these, the TRD Goby. And we got the Goby SN. I've got a couple different colors. They just came in. These are their new Ned bait. So it floats, little Goby. I know you guys up north will really like those, right? I bet you Doc hasn't seen these yet. Have you, Doc?
They're cute.
The TRD Goby.
Cute little fishies.
Perfect for up north.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Looks like a
to the
little Mad
camera.
Tom.
Hold up to the camera
That's
for us.
awesome.
Here.
It's my type bait right there.
Sorry, Tom. Oh, okay. Yeah. Anything cute?
It's a cute
Yeah, there
little
we go. Here, you want the actual?
Oh,
Here's
grab
the-
that one.
I got short arms, people. All right. Yes, the TRD Gobies are in the house. I've got about 4
Oh,
colors.
yeah, look at
I have
that.
several more on order.
That catches fish.
Yeah, that thing will work.
Look at that.
And it's pretty. And it's chartreuse
It looks really
on
good.
the bottom.
That's what I was going for tonight.
I know.
All right, so it's my turn. All right, so
Cool. Thank you.
I was listening to what everybody was saying just a couple minutes ago about chartreuse being the color for fall. So again, I went through the discount bait section and I found this cute little Castmaster bait fish. I don't know, but it's chartreuse colored and it's on sale for $5. Come in, stock up.
Great for trout, small fish, panfish.
Jenny knows.
Third on the list and final. These crawls. I don't fish them on the bottom that often. I actually like to weightless rig these, and I fish them on the
Riggies?
rig these. Rig these.
As a Gen X thing.
Oh no.
I don't think
Cole is
so.
not hip with the times.
I'm
All right,
not.
the wig is fine.
Rude.
It's-
Fishing this top water though. I actually caught my PB on these things top water, right along the bank.
You've caught fish with them top water?
You heard me.
No.
I caught fish with them. I'm serious.
That's not why I hired
Stop it!
Yeah, I caught them.
You all didn't let me finish. Okay.
4-pounder actually on
4
that.
pounder?
4
Whoa.
pounds.
Did you take a
PB.
picture?
I don't catch big fish or a lot, but but I try. So
You lost Carly.
Tom
you
just
lost
caught
Carly
the camera with his foot.
because he was laughing. All right. So, did you take a picture?
I think I got a picture.
Okay, good. Because if you didn't take a picture, it didn't happen, right?
Of course.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Next. Since Carly's talking about discount things, I'm just going to do this one really quickly. Fish Monkey gloves are 25% off now. We've got a bunch. We've got the stubby. We've got colors, all sorts of stuff. Carly's looking at me like, why do you need those?
Yeah.
Um,
Why do you wear gloves while you fish?
Thomas, why do you wear gloves when you fish? I don't
mean,
know, because
It's nice and
it's
grippy.
It's grippy.
But could these also? What could these double as? Just
Keep your
wondering.
hands warm a little bit.
Probably.
Why do
Could
we
they be
wear-
like
Are they
workout?
waterproof?
No. You could probably work out with them. What?
Well, you asked me a question because I need to get in here.
Oh,
so-
just use them.
Oh,
Good
sorry.
God.
That works.
Just
There's other mics.
jump in.
You really?
Gloves?
Oh, you need.
Do you need them?
Show your hand like you're a hand model.
Yes.
Like
I am.
OnlyFans. So the reason I wear this type of gloves in the summertime is really for skin cancer. Big thing is I've known a lot of guys growing up that don't have a nose anymore. They have holes in their cheeks. Carol Ann, I'm sorry, she had to have her whole new face put on because of how bad her skin cancer is. So when you're out there and you're getting hit with the sun habitually, you don't think about your hands. And so in the summertime, I really like to wear gloves.
especially when it's super hot out. And again, in the wintertime, it's easy to wear gloves because you're freezing to death. But we don't think about really all those other times a year. What I like to do is I'll have 2 pairs of those. That way I have a backup pair if they get really wet and damp. But again, it's a little thing just to kind of keep the sun off you.
And they're grippy.
Yes. And one announcement. Make sure I know guys don't like to do this. I'm a very abnormal person. I go to the doctor routinely. Go get checked for skin cancer habitually. It creeps up on you and you don't want to wait too long for that.
Yes, totally agree.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, Jerry would agree with you on that.
Do you want to do one more? Because you have
Yes,
really
I'm gonna
big
do one
box.
more. Okay. These guys are just kind of a little extra. So we brought in hot tail lures. They're custom made musky baits that are made here locally up in Martinsburg. This is the last one I have at the moment. But apparently he's pretty popular. But so if you're the big musky guy, we got
$10,000.
yeah.
That's massive.
No, but so we do have a lot of musky stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. And it's Halloweeny.
Yeah, because it's orange.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the other one that I have, the jigs fish love to bite. All right. Another little teeny tiny little guppy thing. And it's chartreuse colored. So winner. And it's only $1.99 right now, y'all. Come in and get it. Okay. And then another one, I'm just gonna go for it, is the Guggen Squad clickbait vibrating jig. Made me think Halloween. Look at that. Orange chartreuse. And he's got a little mascara on his eyes. So he's
Are we making you feel
down
smart,
for
Cole?
it.
Yeah.
This is my towel.
Oh, he's used to it. He works at Jake's Bait and Tackle.
It's all right. So
Oh yeah.
your turn again.
Yeah. Okay, my turn. Okay, next thing that we just got in that people are super excited about, and we used to carry them a long time ago, but then they were just having problems. But they came back, and they're amazing. Dirty jigs. So this is the guppy jig head that people are saying it's really good for forward-facing sonar. You can use those for that. The Matt Allen tactical swim bait head, we got those back in. The Scott Canterbury shaky head, told that they're amazing and the best there is. And then I have 2 jigs from them, the Luke Clausen compact pitching jig and their California swim jig. So again, different colors, different sizes, and they are now new at Jake's, right? Cole, did you have to put these up?
Yeah, I priced them.
Yeah.
Put them up, priced them.
Cole's
Whole
getting
9
much
yards.
faster at his pricing.
Nice.
All right.
Tommy.
We don't have anybody commenting. People are like leaving us. We must not be as entertaining.
We still got
today.
20 people.
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
21.
21. Hey.
Well, this is what we learned with women here.
It's my turn.
Oh no, we're not.
So what you got?
Cole's too young to drink.
Oh no, I mean you two.
It's my turn.
Oh, us two?
No.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Ask a question, they'll take a shot. Ask a
All right.
question, they'll take a shot.
Your turn, Carly.
Fine. All right. So my last picks for the night. I don't know. I really like the Dark Sleeper. They speak to me on an artistic level. They look like cutest little fish ever. And I found a pink one, and then I also found a chartreuse and purple one. And they are only $5.99. One's a 1/4 ounce and the other one's a 3/8 ounce.
And you can compare to the Gobius.
Yeah. Look at them. They're so cute.
I love how
Look
the
at
guys all
that.
agree on us when it comes time to see the camera.
They don't care.
So,
It's fine.
it's all right. They don't care.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, come on in. Great prices.
All right. Last thing I want to talk about, unless you have something to talk about, Cole.
I'm all out for
Did Jerry tell you any jokes today? No, probably not appropriate for TV.
Cole, hunting. Talk about hunting.
Oh, you hunt.
Talk about hunting.
What do you hunt for? Have you caught anything yet?
Ask
I mean,
about his
shot
turkey
anything
hunting.
yet?
Look.
No, sorry, that was me.
I don't
bet
catch
you-
fish. I try to hunt. I sit in the woods.
Oh, wait, you've been duck hunting.
I've been duck hunting.
Duck hunting.
What was it? the
That's
meander? And
special.
you scooped it, too.
Merganser.
Merganser.
Merganser. We've been
Merganser. They're cute.
West Virginia and Virginia. Can't be giving away spots, but floating the river, spooking them up. Pretty good time.
Yeah.
I think I'm like 0 for probably about 8 or 9 hunts so far for deer this year.
Aw.
So trying to get in the morning.
Yeah, so when
So-
everybody says kids are always on their video games and stuff these
Nah.
days, not cool.
Not this one.
Yeah,
Not this
I'm
one.
sitting in the woods not shooting anything. So
Well, at least you're in the woods. All right.
At least you're in the woods.
I'm there trying.
Careful.
Fine.
Tomorrow's Halloween, so you don't know if
Yeah.
Michael Myers is going to be out there. Just saying. Be careful.
Probably shouldn't go out there.
That, you know, that's why we couldn't name a child Michael.
That's my brother's name.
My last name's Myers.
I forgot about that.
All right, last thing.
Tommy's face right now. I can't.
No, we're not very entertaining today, I guess. I don't know.
He's so embarrassed.
So we got some more Yak Attack stuff in. We got a couple batteries, got a couple more nets. But my thing that I'm most excited about, and I don't even fish, I don't even kayak, is the Yak Attack backpack. Look at that. So you can either get it in a 2-pack, which is this one that comes with the track mount, and it's got 2 boxes. This is really cool too. See, so you can open the bottom one or the top one. Did you see that?
You're not holding it open long enough.
Oh.
What are the little divots in there for?
Maybe drain water. I don't know. Their design. Well, it goes with their blackpack thing. The idea of their other stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so you can also buy just the mounting bracket plus 1 if you want to put them other places, things like that. But you can get the 2-pack with the mounting bracket for $49.99. Anyway, we got a bunch of them in. So great Christmas present. They're brand new. Come on in and grab those.
Nice.
Thomas is going back through.
Great episode.
Yeah,
I saw somebody about adding prices up, Tom. What'd they say? Go back up.
I think that was before.
Did you already do that one?
Yeah.
You guys would like to answer it more.
How much money that I have in tackle?
Yeah.
Probably $50.
Charlie?
Well, I just added up all the prices for mine just before I sat down.
What we own or what?
No.
Share.
For all, if you bought all the baits that I suggested tonight, you would end up spending about $35. But if you had the Patreon subscription with Fishing the DMV, you would only spend about $31 on everything, and so it would save you some extra money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you see Jim's joke?
Jim's joke? I got a joke. What's worse than ants in the pants? Uncles. Uncles in the pants. Ooh, that's scary. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Hang around Jerry too much.
All right, closing thoughts, guys.
Carly loves Halloween, obviously. She's adorable. Cole, did you survive your first? It wasn't that bad. It was like 20 minutes.
This was a great experience.
It was a good experience.
Awesome. We'll have you back on, definitely.
Yes.
Next live. You
I
gotta
hope I
come
wasn't
on.
too horrible.
We might get like the old lady crowd to come and watch or something.
Right. Well, by then you would have
Or the young crowd.
caught something in your hunting adventures.
Caught something.
And
I'll try and catch
you'll get to
something.
talk about it.
Why do you think he's like trying to like throw a blanket over a
I don't know. I thought that maybe that was a word I shouldn't use
You
on a
could
live
trap.
stream.
Cage him up.
He could be trapping.
No.
Well,
But I could be
I
though.
said I said caught something.
trap a duck.
You've been talking about crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so no. Based on there, I feel like these are the conversations you guys at parties, unless you're Amish, you don't do that. Like, how would you trap a duck? With a
How would you
blanket?
trap a duck?
I think you're gonna have to throw a net at it as it flies by.
Or noose it, like with,
Honestly, it'd be badass. If you
Noose
could
the
noose a
duck?
well, like, like wrangle it? No?
You gotta be a little better than
Lasso
me
it?
than at that.
Lasso it. You got, they're probably fast.
All right, guys.
My
Awesome.
dog caught a quail once. It flew out, the border collie, the bird came out of the bush. She jumped up and grabbed it in mid-flight.
That sounds illegal.
Well, she was a dog.
That's freaking awesome.
It was awesome.
Guys, link in the episode description, everything we talked about. Guys, link in the episode description, everything we talked about today. Jenny just said we can stay here until midnight. So if you want to keep going, well, you just said you're okay with keep going. You should-
Cole's done. He's ready to wrap it up. Let's go.
All right, so tell a quail story first.
Oh, I just told it. Oh, no. When we were kids, so we're walking down, the bush started rustling. And the quail comes out of the bush, and my dog jumps up and catches it midair. And my dad yelled, "Drop it!" And she gave it to him, and then it flew off.
Oh, she didn't kill it.
She didn't kill it.
Okay.
She was a good hunter.
Then
She
it
brought
wasn't
back
illegal.
rabbits all the time.
Okay. Good dog.
Yeah.
Guys, I know you can probably hear the background noise. Yeah, they're still here. They're talking.
They're still talking.
People would
fish.
rather talk to them. So
But
Do you want-
any closing thoughts, guys?
I don't have any. But no, okay. The sale goes on until tomorrow. Cole really wants you to come buy the stuff because he doesn't have to put it back then.
I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna cut one of Cole's fingers off every day that this stuff doesn't.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Call it.
Expendable.
Cole tolerates us.
We'll call it-
Expendable.
Did not say no to
Nobody said no at all.
He doesn't need them.
Everybody
he
was
wants to go
good
into
with that idea.
business. Well, no, he does have a lawn care company.
Did you just say he doesn't need them? He wants to go into business?
Yeah.
Yeah, what businessman needs 10 fingers?
He's got a calculator.
Wow.
Would you not condemn violence here?
No, we don't. I value Cole way too much to cut off his fingers.
He's the best type of employee. Affordable.
All right, guys. Thanks for
All right,
tuning
thanks.
in. Make sure before you log off, give us a like. Come on. If you haven't subscribed yet, what the heck are you doing?
The
Let's
show
go.
is not over. She's not. We're having closing thoughts from
Oh.
Jared and them.
Oh, you're
yeah.
kicking us off.
Don't log off.
Yeah.
Don't log off.
But while we
smart guy.
switch out the seats, go ahead and like the episode this evening. We've only got about 20 likes thus far, and that's in a combination
See,
of
we
Facebook
lost. We're losing
and
people.
YouTube.
Crazy.
And on YouTube, there's only about 5 likes. So come on, people.
If you
What
give
the
us
heck are
2 more
doing?
likes, I'll kick the women off.
Let's go.
Okay, is that what you guys
Okay,
want?
The guys who know what they're doing are coming.
We're already
back.
getting
All right,
kicked
we're
out.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry for being here.
We ruined the show. Oh, I had one more thing, Thomas. Jared can talk about this.
You can talk about it. Talk about it. Go
No,
for it.
Jared knows how to do it. Your new product.
Tom's new product?
Jared's.
Oh.
All right. Well,
What
you
we
need to
got?
let us out first.
Yeah.
Jared will talk about the new core
Ooh.
I don't
product.
know. If, I mean, I'll talk.
You get it
about
all
it. I don't know.
fancy. It's got its own little display.
One person there. One person there. One person there. I'll go in first. Charlie, come on out. 1, 2, 3.
I got to come back down here.
I love that. Put that on.
Everyone gets a chair now.
This is nice.
This week's gonna be a good week.
Already did. All right, cool.
It's gonna be a good week hunting right there. 3 ruts after start. 100%.
Look at this. Everyone gets like that's amazing. Everyone gets a mic now. All right, you know what? Hey, let me. This is great. Like these sound effects now that you'll hear this in the episode. But round of applause to the girls. They're a little upset because last time they were the main tip of the live stream. I think that was because they were also doing shots for comments. But Jerry does not like that. Jerry doesn't drink, so we want to make sure we put a tamp on that.
Very drink. Don't miss drinking and
I
business.
got these. I like these. These are great.
Yeah, we were talking about. I was talking about the skin cancer thing earlier about like how important it is to do that. Check your face.
Absolutely.
I'm getting to the age, guys, where I'm going to be making my first appointment too to get checked out next year because.
Very important.
Yeah, well, thank you. Love you too. But yeah, the fact is to make sure you get all that checked out. We had over, I think it was 48 questions, comments. We had 22 likes, and we had over 50 people watching at one time. Thank you guys so much for making that this is a really good show. I'm going to give just kind of the boring recap of what's coming next, and then we're going to get into our closing thoughts. Everyone have their piece. Our next live stream from Jake's, we're going to do the last Monday, as we said, last Monday of every month. So the next one is going to be the Monday after Thanksgiving. I'm going to make sure with Jared, we're good for that. That's going to be the December edition. We're going to be talking about what's coming up for Christmas time, what you should be fishing in December. And then next week, we're going to have a double feature. I'm going to have Tyler Heppel on. He is a guide at Lake Anna. He's not associated with Woods and Water. He's an up and coming stud. He basically cashes a check there at Lake Anna almost any time that he launches his boat for a tournament. And he's been doing all the Lake Anna fishing reports. So I'm going to have him on. I'm going to hopefully have Mike on for MBKBA. He's going to talk about the season in review. That is next week's live stream. The other thing that Jared and I had, and Carly, if you could go wide shot here, and drum roll with this, we just finished recording a really cool ass episode last week with Mr. Hallaker. So it is in the books. We had Mr. Jason Hallaker on the show talking about some really cool things. It's the smallmouth stocking program, by the way, guys. I'm hopefully going to be launching that in 2 weeks, depending on my upload schedule, just so I can get that up there. But that's baked in and ready to go. So we're all caught up with all that yucky stuff.
That was a great episode too. That had the hatchery. They've with the money they got from a lawsuit. They've got that up and running.
Yeah, that
That's
money's being put to good use.
fascinating information.
Yeah, that was a really, really good episode.
Yeah.
And I also loved, and this is just, it was a little thing, but the fact that Jason listened to all of our episodes and that he listened to the Odenkirk one.
Yes.
And he brought up something that was interesting where in the Odenkirk episode, Odenkirk made this interesting observation that we had grass carp in all these lakes. And then once all the grass carp started dying off, the water willow showed up. And then Jason was like, it was an interesting thing that he said, because he's like, you know what, come to think of it, he's right. Like Jason even realized what Odenkirk said in that. And it was so interesting that kind of like collaboration where they're all listening to it and coming to this hypothesis that maybe the grass carp actually did eat the water willow and kept it down. So I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting little thing.
Fascinating.
But I think you had something there that you have to show off, correct?
Yeah, so there's two things. I'll talk about this real quick. We talk a lot about Ned rigs. The big TRD, big fan of as well. And with a little bit bigger hook and a weed guard here, fished on the bottom.
And that thing will stand up.
And that thing will stand up.
Yes.
Now, when you go to the smaller one, I just want to throw in something here real quick. The hooks, a lot of people didn't like the original Z-Man hooks. They were a thin wire and they would break on you. This style hook right here, though, is a little more sturdy.
Yes.
That thing is going to stand up. Now, that's going to give you an exposed hook on a small TRD, the 2.75 inch. And I do want to talk to that real quick too. This thing, I could not figure out why these were so effective with fish and big fish and why they ate them until I put one in a minnow tank back here. Now that thing on the ground sitting down, anytime a minnow feeds, it's going to be nose down, tail up, and it's going to be feeding just like that. And if you're fishing on the bottom and it's doing this number, when they come along, they're gonna eat it up. But when you can also bring it up, if you jig it up, that 2.75 inch, you go back and measure those medium-sized minnows. 2.75 inch. And when I brought it up in that, you can't tell the difference between this and a minnow. So in my mind, it triggered, that's what, even though this looks so stupid to us, that's what the fish thinks it is. Now I want to show real quick, that's a exposed hook real quick here. And you can do it on this, or you can do it on this little mini tube, also a Z-Man mini tube.
Yeah, those are great.
This hook we carry here, just ask us about it. It's a Texas style. It's a Ned hook, but with a Texas style. And I would only use this on the Last Tech Z-Man products.
I use them a lot.
But pull it through just like you would a Texas. And then once you get that Last Tech up over top, now you're going to be able to turn it just like you would a Texas. Bring it through. Okay. And now then just, pinch it like you would to make it weedless. And now you got a weedless Ned presentation. Now on the Susquehanna rivers with a lot of rock, you get hung up. This you could still possibly get hung up. I'm not going to say you're not, but you have less chance of getting hung up with that style hook.
I'll give you a little tip about these. If you like, the Z-Man's really buoyant, so like Jared said, they hang up a lot. But if you got a bait like this or this, it's more buoyant. So what happens is it still stands up on the bottom, but it doesn't allow it to get hung up as much because it kind of
Gotcha.
the pressure
up.
up.
Keeps
The heavier
it
it is, the more it wants to sink.
Got it. Yeah.
So when you put something like this on there, it really reduces your hang-ups a lot.
And the other thing you were talking earlier too, just real quick on that, you can drag that on the bottom. You can jig it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. They both work equally well. Just have it in the water, basically.
No wrong way to
no
fish
wrong
it.
way to fish that. And the next thing here too. Now, guys, please understand too. I'm not an expert on any of this. This. Again, 90% of what's in here comes from customer recommendation. Hey, you need to get this. This is what's new. This is what's hot. I think part of the, the whole forward-facing sonar brought about this. It's core tackle, the hover rig. Now, what I think, and again, don't quote me on this, I'm not an expert, but I think the idea on your traditional weight forward hook style hooks, that's going to drive that down in this fashion, which is sometimes good. When you're doing that forward-facing sonar, you want this to be horizontal presentation here. If you're scoping it and you're looking over here, the way this weight is centered along the shank here, it's a weight distribution, I believe, so that now you're going to keep that bait like this. Now, it is true, too. This thing will glide down or also kind of go in a circle down. And I know tube guys have talked about that, too, depending on where you pull it out of the tube head. If you're close to the end or down here, you'll get a different fall on that. So,
and the thing about forward-facing sonar and using this, you can actually throw it, like on a spinner rod. And if your fish are like 30 feet out, you can throw it 40 feet and let it pendulum.
Yeah, right.
Keep pressure on your line and just let it, it'll swing
right down.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not, Thomas, that's not something I use. I do like the fluke. I ain't going to mess around with it, but I don't know a lot about it. I might be totally off on that. I don't know, but I know there's people out there that use it and know more than I do.
I think what's interesting about all this stuff. So as you guys know, again, please try to, if you can, follow me on Patreon. We do Patreon live streams now where I kind of go more into the weeds about this stuff. I follow so many Japanese anglers on Instagram, YouTube. I don't understand the language barrier, but I watch what they do because those techniques are in literally 2 years, whatever they're fishing now will be over here to be hot. Everything they do is subtle and realistic. And so they have this new technique where it's basically it's a swim bait with not a paddle tail, so it looks like a fluke. It's super realistic, but they put a spin head, so you nose hook it, and it has a spin piece in the front without a weight. And you cast it out, and you're just basically doing nothing but just creeping the reel. And this thing just does this light shimmy. Everything they're doing right now is how do I make this photorealistic and just creep through the water column? And there was that angler, I apologize for his name, that did great at Lake Murray. I think he won at the St. Lawrence or no, it was St. Clair. I think he won at. Yeah.
Yes.
And he's doing the same thing. It was with, I think, that technique, but it had like a build soft plastic. So it would angle and just give that little shimmy. And
He's got like 5 Garmin live scope.
It's insane. He's giving all those fish cancer.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah, he's got them all pointed. Yeah, he's doing a 360.
It's insane. But then when he gets out there, it's all finesse stuff.
But yeah, those guys. That's the reason I think that is because there's so many. And when the pandemic came,
they got one leg.
Fishing boom.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
It definitely got
they
people
see
interested
so
in it.
much now. It's almost you have to present stuff that really looks close to real,
Realistic,
possible.
yeah.
No, you absolutely have to. And this is why if you keep looking at all the tournaments that are happening right now, you're not seeing as many guys winning with like a big old bait caster flipping and pitching.
Yeah.
Circumstantial depending on your lake, but when we have Odenkirk on, we have Halleck, we have so many of these guys from DWR, all these lakes are going to get clearer and there's going to be less cover in them, especially if there are certain lakes like Kerr Reservoir, Bugs Island, they have a 0 hydrilla tolerance, so they're going to kill all the grass. Well, if you have no grass and all the wood starts to rot away, it's going to be gin clear water that's going to be finesse, and more finesse is going to be playing. And BFS, for example, 2 years ago, I tried that out. I'm hooked. I think it's going to become more important in your repertoire to have 8-pound test bait casting setups. Give this stuff a try. You're really going to have more success with it in a lot of circumstances.
Well, I think too, wouldn't you not agree? Like, again, I've always felt there's a reaction bite, and that reaction bite is usually going to be in your feeding windows when they're feeding and they're hungry, and that may not last very long. You only get a couple of those a day. So when that does turn off and you're not getting that, power bite, is now also the time to switch in. And if you have this in your repertoire, to pull that out of the box, pull that one of those dirty spinning rods out, and be able to pitch that to them, you might get bit.
100%.
Same thing you're talking about downsizing line. You might get bit if you'll try this.
Little changes.
Yep.
I went to 10-pound test braid on all my spinning rods, so I can use all the way down to a 4-pound test leader. But by using braid, it increases the sensitivity. You get better hook sets. With any stretch you got, it's going to help, and your casts are going to be like
Country mile.
Yeah. And then Jim, I thought this was good for the conversation. Jim F. I use a 1/0 EWG with a 1/6 nail weight and the other end for the weedless TRD. It works great. Mike Anelli calls it the small child rig. That is a weird name, but okay.
I don't even do a 1/0 now. I go down to a size 1. See, you got how the hook sizes go. You got 1 and then 1/0, 2/0, and then you got 1 and a 2. So a 1 hook is actually only like that.
And some
I'll use the heck out of that.
Here's the thing too, like on that, people talk about small hooks. You're talking about Rogers hook, sickle hook, and stuff, and people you think you need a big hook, but I'm gonna tell you, and a lot of those hooks, especially at sickle hook, and even those Neds, a lot of time, the way they eat it, sometimes you're getting that thing right there.
Wherever you want.
You get through that right there, it's not coming off either. I mean,
you can catch a 5-6 pound fish on these light wire hooks.
No,
You can't horse them. You got to, you got to play them in.
That's right.
That light line, and you just the main thing is having good drag or good reel, and just fighting the fish. You can get them in on light line, real light tack.
Sorry guys, I just bought some hooks, so I want to show you. So what I'll do with a lot of these things is I try not to blow this up.
They actually make size 1.
And it's good to hear people talk. That's why it's good talking about this too, because it's good information.
Camera girl,
you got to use everything. Your
Yeah.
technology, yeah, just because it's getting a lot.
Well, and you also got to change.
So if you,
Sometimes
if you
gotta-
could zoom
what
in on my
what we
face, we had a
think
good
and
one,
what
one
are
more
two
question to
different
kind of
things
end this thing
sometimes.
on
And
this.
if you don't,
Most of the time.
right?
Right.
So a great bait for this here. This is just the one I literally had. A spark shed here. Get yourself a 1/0 or 2/0. Now this is where it's important. So Jim mentioned the size of the hook. If you do not want to add a weight, just go up to a 2/0 hook and you'll have a little bit more weight to it. And that'll get you a slink. Take this bait and all you're going to do is just nose hook it. And I want you to try to take a bait like this. And it has to be a full body swim bait. Now here's the deal. This is what I've picked up from the Japanese anglers. These full body swim baits want to swim more naturally than your typical Kitech. A typical Kitech or a fluke style, it doesn't have the aerodynamics of a full body that has all of its fins.
Right.
So when you nose hook this type here and you slowly reel it through the water column, it's still going to swim. It's going to swim nice and slow. But because you didn't put the hook all the way through to give it a spine, it's going to have more secondary action as it goes through the water column. And I think as anglers here in America, we're so paranoid of only having a hook at this part of the bait.
Yeah.
But do you remember the Banjo Minnow? And that sucker was it was nose hooked too.
Yes.
And this will work even on a smaller swim bait here. But doing this or a flick shake hook would be the
Flick
same
shake.
thing. Nose hook that and swim it through the water column. The action is completely different than when you actually thread that hook all the way through. So yeah, give that a shot as well.
Ooh, doggy, the old banjo.
Yes,
Minnow.
sir.
Banjo Minnow.
Something in there.
But
What was the one that went backwards?
Helicopter?
No,
No.
It was a jig, but it had it looked like a tube, but it would slip inside this weight, and it had tentacles, and you would throw it, and it would come back to you.
oh God,
Remember
the
that?
torpedo,
Yeah,
not torpedo.
it- I can't remember
Yeah,
the name of it.
gee, I remember
That was-
exactly what you're
that was
talking
right
about.
behind the banjo.
The magic minnow or the magic lure.
Magic
It
lure?
may have been, yeah. It was weird. I had them. It came in a little kit, you know.
Oh.
I was young. I was really young. I tried. It
But-
worked.
Yeah.
Guys, closing thoughts today. Thank you so much for coming out and spending so much time with us on this Halloween. Please promote your guide business. Where can people find it if they want to go out with you?
We'll leave a number with Jake, and or they can put a number on this when it's done, and you can just contact us. We're on Facebook. We got email. Brothers, what is it? Brothers Fishing.
Brothers Fishing Service.
Yeah, Brothers Fishing Service. Is it .com? No.
No. Brothers Fishing Service on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you want to
It
go
goes
out
on
and
email.
make some memories and learn a technique, now's a good time to go catch some big fish. We love to take you out, teach you something, make those memories that you carry with you, with your kids, your parents, doesn't matter. An avid angler, a beginning fisherman, it doesn't matter to us. We're there to accommodate, and we want to make you have memories and learn something. on the water.
You can bring your own tackle, or we got all the tackle and stuff, and like Jason said, you just go out and catch fish. You want to learn new techniques, wildlife. This time of year, good time to catch your personal best. From now until April, you can catch some giants. You don't get a lot of bites, but the ones you get are usually pretty good.
And another plug too, Lonnie, we've been talking throughout the episode about fly fishing, and Lonnie's also an avid fly fisherman. So, and I've seen photos of you taking guys up in the mountain
Yes,
streams
yep.
where they're chasing brookies up in the mountain
Yes.
streams, and that's hard. And a brookie's not going to be very big, but
Yeah.
that being on that mountain stream running
Yes.
water, so you do that as well. So, you might be a bass fisherman and never, you watch river runs through and think, man, I can never do that. But it's not hard, is it?
No,
if you
it's
got
actually
somebody-
I could teach you to fly fish in a couple of hours, and we can actually go out on the boat and fly fish on the boat. You're for smallmouth. It's
Yeah.
easy enough. Or perch, or but yeah, fly fishing as well.
Yep.
Guys, link in the episode description to everything that we talked about today. Again, I just had that screenshot here. And then the last thing would be, just for a little housekeeping, is I know I'm a little late on this, but today has been absolutely crazy for me. The Patreon support of the week is Basshead. Basshead, thank you so much for your support. You just want a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Remember, guys, when you join Patreon, every Monday I announce a Patreon winner. We also have our Facebook contest that will be announced tomorrow. We're going to put all the photos online tomorrow to be voted on. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to vote for who won the October giveaway for that. Link in the episode description to everything we talked about today. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out in the algorithm. And we're going to see you guys next time fishing the DMV.
Thanks. Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
you got something
And
else?
yeah, real quick.
And one more
just,
thing.
Looking ahead, you're talking about December, January, Fishing the DMV and Jake's will be at Richmond X Fishing
Yep,
Expo,
Richmond
January
Expo.
19, 2021. So I recommend, if you've never been to that show or if you have, come on down. It's a great show, another great learning opportunity to learn about, fishing, but come down and see Thomas in the booth.
Yep. Thank you guys so much. And we'll see you next time fishing the DMV. Bye.
You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and